League team has been battling for. A mouth-watering grand final. It's time for the talking to stop and the action to begin. Hard, it's ruthless. Congratulations once again to the Poole Pirates. Bellevue have been brilliant. Poole Pirates Elite League champions. It's all or nothing. A winner takes it all. What a night in prospect here. They are packed to the rafters. A historic night in Manchester, the last ever Speedway meeting here at the Kirkmansham Lane Stadium, home for now of the world-famous Bellevue Aces, who go head-to-head with the modern-day giants, the Poole Pirates. It is a mouth-watering prospect. Poole looking for a third straight league title against a side with one of the richest history in world speedway. The Aces, who dominated the sport at one time, that tag now belongs to the Poole Pirates. Huge night ahead, massive crowd, perfect weather here in Manchester. It's the first leg of the grand final. It's Bellevue Aces and Poole Pirates. Hi there, welcome along. They are still queuing to get in here outside at Kirkmansham Lane. It is a historic night, as we say, a new era just around the corner, literally at the National Speedway Stadium. Grand final, last ever meeting here. Two great teams, perfect weather. Kelvin Tatum, it's got the lot.
It has indeed. It's a big, big night of Speedway ahead. And the crowd itself, it's unprecedented. I was here when it opened in the 80s. I can't remember ever seeing as many people in the stadium as we have this evening. It really is a delight. The weather, of course, has played its part, but there's a sense of anticipation in the air. It's been some time since the Aces have really had any real success, so a tremendously exciting evening in prospect.
Yeah, the situation is that Bellevue started here in 1987. They started here originally, but then moved to Hyde Road, the Hyde Road Stadium, with the great days of your Peter Cravens, your Ivan Majors, your Chris Mortons, your Peter Collins. That was just across the way from here, Hyde Road Stadium. That closed. They came here in 1987 and have been here ever since. But next March, they launch a bright new era with the National Speedway Stadium as part of Bellevue Sports Village. And what a way to bow out of Kirkmansham Lane with a grand final, Kel.
Well, their timing is impeccable, isn't it? Because they've had some indifferent seasons, let's put it that way. But with a brand new stadium to move in, to qualify for the grand finals, and even if they don't win, I'm sure it's given the whole club a massive boost. Of course, they're desperate to win, but exciting times for the Aces ahead.
Yep, first time Bellevue have qualified for the playoffs in a decade. They got to the final then, and they'll be looking to go one better over the next couple of nights, because they're looking to win the league title, which they didn't do 10 years ago when Coventry beat them. Dramatic semi-finals, the playoffs never let us down. Let's remind you of what's happened. What a meeting in prospect here. It's the Bellevue Aces and the Swindon Robins. Andreas Johnson turning on the style. Huge result in heat number 13, and Bellevue have really got a grip on this semi-final tie. Two giants of British Speedway collide. Poole Pirates really coming on strong, and if it stays like this, Poole will be 8 up with 2 to go. Here comes Danny King! Danny King giving it all! What a ride from Danny King! It's going to be level going into the second leg. What a conclusion to tonight's dramatic night!
There's no question that Alan Rossiter and his team have got a lot of pressure on their shoulders.
A good lead here tonight, and yeah, it's all about making that final. It'll be a big deal for us.
The Aces have hit the ground running. They're stretching that lead further and further out in front. Really is desperate times for the home team.
Both teams are struggling a little bit, but you know, it's the same for both, so no excuses really.
Blast round the corner, bars himself towards the checkered flag, just up for the Aces. Really doing the business. They're in the final.
Basically a one-leg shootout here. The Poole Pirates and the Coventry Bees ready to do battle. Davey once made a superstar, and so has Chris Holder. The Pirates, perfect start. Main grandstand, the fans are jubilant with that. Here we go, heat number 6. But it's a good start again from the Pirates. Absolutely stunning from the man in red, Davey Watt. Harris is going for double points in the next race. Can the Bees claw themselves back into this? What a start that is from Edward Kennedy. Up the inside comes Chris Harris now in the black and white helmet colour. Into turn 3 and 4. Oh, my God! Oh, no! It's a 5-1 for the Pirates. Poole on the way to the grand final. It's going to be one heck of a final between the Pirates and the Aces. Just shows you the playoffs can be cruel at times. Coventry led the table at one stage. They had a comfortable lead. Poole picked them in the semi-finals. Coventry don't make the final. But I don't think really there's too much doubt, Kelvin, that on current form, when it comes to September, late September indeed, the two best teams are in the playoff final.
Well, certainly over the course of the semi-finals, both these two teams fully deserve to be here. The draw, of course, between the Bees and the Pirates looked like the second leg could be a very tight tussle, but the Pirates got on the roll and they really did completely dominate that meeting. But you're dead right, the Aces and the Poole Pirates are here and their form is terrific.
Still trying to get in outside. The queues are big.
Isn't it
trying
good?
to get in here at Kirkman-Soon Lane. It's a real good feeling to see this place packed, and what a view and what a shot we get there.
2002, the playoffs turned up. They were introduced and they never failed. I think it's also indicative that the Bellevue Aces have had a disappointing run. There's no doubt about that. They are a sleeping giant as a club. The opportunity to go into a new stadium, winning the grand finals, well, that would be a fairy tale.
And let's take a look at the home side, the Bellevue Aces. So the Aces looking to make history tonight by going one step towards the Elite League title. Number 4 is the captain, Scotty Nichols, in the engine room at the side. Slovenian Grand Prix star Matej Zegar goes at number 1 with Max Frick, talented young Australian. He rides at 2. Josh Grzonik, a former Poole rider, won the league with them last year. He goes at 3 against his old club. Craig Cook rides at number 5 for the Aces. And down at reserve, key men tonight, Stevie Worrell at 6, Stefan Nielsen at number 7. Who's your man to watch, Kel?
I've gone for their top man, Matej Zegar. We haven't seen him here for several weeks. He's had some awful injuries with some internal bleeding. Comes in with a lot of pressure on his shoulders. He needs to do the business. Has struggled in recent weeks with the performances. Needs a big night. Needs a big double-figure score.
Yeah, struggled a little bit in Stockholm at the weekend in the Grand Prix, but I'm sure he's well and truly up for this meeting tonight. Now, for the reigning champions, the Poole Pirates. There's the Pirates lineup then. It's Magic Matseyanovsky, the skipper, at number 5 tonight. And number 1, the 2012 world champion Chris Holder. Davey Watt goes at 2. He's got plenty of experience and had a good semi-final. Riding at number 3, Dakota North. He's back after missing the semi-final second leg. Kasper Gamolski goes at number 4. And down at reserve, Paul Stark and Kyle Newman. Big nights needed for them tonight as well. Who's your Poole man to watch, Kelvin?
I'm going to go for their number 1 as well, Nigel. Chris Holder, who has had a difficult run of late, and we all know why, but he needs to come good this evening. He has the ability to do it. He doesn't always enjoy it here, but I do believe if he has a good night, then the Poole Pirates will put a lot of pressure on the Bellevue Aces. They know how to win, the Pirates, don't they? And they're going for 3 on the spin, a hat-trick of league titles. Chris Holder is key to it.
Yep, the first leg tonight, second leg on Wednesday. It's the grand final of Elite League Speedway. We've got every angle covered for you tonight as well with our team. Simon Stead is back with us tonight. He is trackside. We'll hear from him shortly about the all-important track conditions. But first of all, building up to the action down in the pits, here's Chris Louis.
Thanks, Nigel. Yeah, it's so easy to see what this meeting, this grand final, really means to these two teams. It's gone very quiet in pit lane, and the tension, you could cut that with a knife, I can tell you. I've got the captains here with me. Maciek, if I can come to you first. You chose Coventry in the semi-finals. A lot of people said it's because you really wanted to avoid Bellevue, but you've got to face them now.
Yeah, that's true. We all knew how hard it is here, especially home boys. They all flying here, so it will be really hard to stop them, but we will try.
Dakota North missed the semi-finals, but he's back now. You've got 7 men. So what are you going to be looking to take away from tonight?
Yeah, no, we're happy we started the season in this team where we actually finished. So that's the most important. And this is the final. We will try get everything what we can.
Great stuff. Good luck. Thank you, Magic, for your time. Scott, I just said it. It's tense down here. This really does mean a lot, this grand final. But Bellevue, obviously Poole, they're going for 3 on the trot. They've got a lot to race for. They're winners. They know how to win. But you guys, it's a big meeting. It's the last one here at Coaching Lane.
It is. It's huge, but I think it's safe to say the pressure's on them. They're going for a 3rd straight one. It's Bellevue's first final in 10 years. So we know we're strong at home, but we know they're strong on their home soil as well. And I think it's fair to say the two best teams are 2 teams that deserve to be there. So it'll be a good final.
Ironically, 10 years ago was the last time this club had the opportunity to win a grand final, but it was your team, Coventry, and yourself that took that away from them. How big would it be to go into the new stadium as champions?
That'd be fantastic, and for me it'd be quite nice to give something back, because it's Coventry that robbed it from them 10 years ago. So it's special for me. I've been part of that winning team then. It'd be lovely to be part of one now, and to go into the new stadium just up road as champions would be awesome. So we'll get together as a team, focus on that, and have some fun and see if we can come out on top.
Good luck. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Yeah, terrific night of Speedway ahead. And what about the all-important track conditions? A man who knows this track very well indeed. He started the season in the Elite League squad for Bellevue. Taking a look at the track and the conditions, here's Simon Stead.
Yeah, thanks, Nige. Down at the start line, it's looking good. Gate 1 and 4 have been notoriously the best start positions here. They've made a conscious effort to even those starts up. Out on track, it's well watered. It's a track fit for the Elite League Grand Final. It's going to get some fantastic racing. It's going to be brilliant.
Holder is here, the 2012 world champion, the 3rd time in the last 6 years at the grand final has featured the sides, finishing 1st and 4th in the Elite League table. The league leaders have always got to the grand final, but they've only won it in 7 of the 13 previous playoffs. So just because you finish top of the table, it doesn't mean you're going to be league champions.
No guarantee at all. And we have seen in previous seasons sides like Bellevue that just scrape in at the 11th hour, get on a real roll, get the momentum on their side, and actually end up being champions at the end of the season. Big opening race, huge opening race in the context of the next 30 heats. Got to get some momentum. Got to say that the Poole Pirates have gone for gates 2 and 4 here, Nigel. I'm slightly surprised. Holder on the outside needs a big start.
Max Frick off 1 in blue for Bellevue, talented young Australian. Davey Watt goes off gate 2 in yellow and black for Poole. Gate 3 in red is Matty Zagar for Bellevue in the red helmet colour. His mechanic has actually cut short his honeymoon to come and work for Matty Zagar tonight, would you believe? And Chris Holder is going off the outside gate number 4 in the white helmet colour. One of the biggest crowds for years, the end of an era in many ways. It is a packed house here at Kirkmanshire Lane, and probably the biggest crowd we've seen in Speedway on Sky Sports this year.
Oh yeah, without doubt. It's a fabulous turnout, and as you say, the anticipation is palpable. It really is, and a great opening race for us. 2 world-class Grand Prix stars on gates 3 and 4, and plenty of quality with the 2 Aussie boys on gates 1 and 2. Here we go.
Yep, first race of the 2015 Grand Final, and what a start from the inside in blue, and now comes around the outside Chris Holder in the white helmet colour, but the man in blue here is Max Frick, and Matty Zagar's at the back, and Frick comes through, battling with his fellow countryman Chris Holder. This is just for starters, folks. Holder now has the drop. Brilliant. Now Zagar is working hard to try and get the better of Davey Watt, and it's Max Frick who holds second, and Frick's come through.
Zagar into second place now, Nigel. He was out the back. He had nowhere to go, and he come charging up into second place. Got to say, what a superb opening lap from Chris Holder, with Max Frick making almost a flyer on the inside. Holder really riding strongly, doesn't always race. Certainly he's put that to the back of his mind. So in Heat 1, he's riding a Stormer out in front. A lap to go. The big guns are first and second.
Yep, Chris Holder holding the lead. Second place in red is Matej Zegar. Max Frick holding third with Davey Watt at the back. It stands as a 3-all right now. But it's a great start from Chris Holder. He'll be delighted with that for the Poole Pirates. And you do get the feeling that away from home, any away wins will do. Any race wins will do for the Pirates before home advantage on Wednesday at Wimborne Road. But that was a terrific race, and that is the first of 30 over 2 nights, tonight and Wednesday.
Cool. We're in for a feast of speedway in the next 3 days, aren't we? Holder really showing great determination to get round the outside of Frick initially. Then Zegar came charging up the inside into second place. A super opening race.
Yep, Chris Holder the winner. Matej Zegar, who didn't make the best of starts, finishes second. Max Frick was third, and Davey Watts trailed in at the back. It's a 3-all, but what an opening race here in Manchester tonight.
And we're going to see it again. Zegar misses a start coming out of gate 3. Holder from the outside. Jet propelled across because Frick had made a sensational start on the inside. Davey Watt there just tucking into third place. Again from the tapes, Frick's bike works a treat to the first corner. He's there, he's aware of Holder. They battled shoulder to shoulder here for about 2/3 of a lap. And as they come roaring round this bottom corner here on the opening lap, we're going down the back straight again. Yeah, Holder just lifting there slightly as they come through here, turns 3 and 4. This is now the effort from Holder that gets him to the front. That really did seal the win for him. And then Zegar comes up at the inside into second place. Bit of battling out the back. It got awfully close between Frick and Davey Watt, but it was a good opening race, a 3-all. Plenty of racing to come.
Real hard-fought battle in the first race of the night. Look at that shot as Davey Watt just avoids the back wheel of Max Frick. What a shot that is. Great stuff in heat number 1 from this man, Chris Holder, who's with Chris Louis now.
Thanks, Nigel. Yeah, Chris, it's always nice to start your night off with a race win, but when there's this much tension around, it helps a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. We lost some times, but they chose Heat 15, so that worked out better for us. But made a good start, and Max gave me a bit of a run there for a lap and a bit. But I just needed to get just across him enough, and I did. And the track was actually pretty grippy out there, so it was a bit of a surprise, but it worked out good.
Kelvin was surprised that you guys actually chose 2 and 4. What's the thinking behind that one?
When we walked the track, 4 was really good, and then when I went to gate 4, then I was pretty wet, so I don't know if they meant that, but it was a bit soft. But yeah, 4 is usually the best gate here, so we thought we'd take it and get off to a good start, and then see what happens through the meeting.
Obviously, it does give you a run of gates 1 and 3 towards the end of the meeting when the pressure may be on.
Hopefully, we've got it tied up by then.
Great stuff, well done.
He's up for it, Kelvin. Chris Holder is up for it.
Pleased to see that. There's no doubt that over the weekend he had a couple of meetings that didn't quite go as well as he would have liked. But he started in fine style there. I'm sure he'll be relaying the information to his teammates. Very interesting point he made there with Chris. Plenty of grip on the track. Touch more grippy than he was expecting. Probably just gave him that impetus to get to the front. But every race crucial. Every race crucial. Just the same points for these boys coming up in Heat 2. 6 and 7s going head to head.
Yep, here we go with the second race of the night then. 3 apiece is the scoreline after the opening heat. Here's Paul Stark in the white helmet colour, his first season as a Poole Pirates rider. And let's take a look at the lineup for you. Going off the inside in white will be Paul Stark. Going off gate number 2 in red is Stevie Worrell for Bellevue. A big night for him. Gate 3 in yellow and black is Kyle Newman for the Poole Pirates, and Stefan Nielsen going off the outside in blue for the Bellevue Aces. A big heat number 2.
It is indeed. Mark Lemon there just having a chat with Zegar and Max Frick, the 2 boys that were out just a moment ago. Be relatively pleased with the 3-all. Steve Worrell has been in great form for the home team, and his 15-point maximum away at Wolverhampton sealed the deal for them to make the playoffs. That night he was nigh on unbeatable. If he produces something like that tonight, I'm sure Mark Lemon will be absolutely delighted.
Kyle Newman in gate number 3, one of the top reserve riders in the Elite League this season. And how Paul a big night from him, but the man in red, Steve Worrell.
Worrell, very, very keen to get on with it there. His peak did actually touch the tapes, but we'll see on the replay to see if his front tyre touches the tapes, because it must have been very close.
Not sure that it did actually, Kelv, but it's just a sign and a measure, I guess, of the pressure and the drama that we can expect tonight. This huge crowd here in Manchester. League title on the line. Let's see it again.
Red helmet colour moves early. Yeah, I think he misses it. just clips his helmet. This will be a great angle. Oh, he's a lucky boy.
Goodness me.
He is a lucky boy. And over these next two meetings, Nigel, those sort of mistakes, if he had got excluded there, he could have gone off 15 metres, of course. But, hey, you don't want to be throwing any points away, do you?
All four riders back.
Not against the Pirates, because they know how to win these meetings.
Very much so. All four riders back for the restart of heat number 2. Josh Grzonek with Craig Cook there. Those boys who chuckling about the fact that he's got away with that, I think, down in the pits area tonight. But a huge meeting here at Kirkmansham Lane in Manchester tonight. Worrell, this is Newman, who I mentioned at the start of that race, is such a key rider for Poole. He's one of the top riders at reserve in the Elite League.
Yeah, and last year he had a massive part to play, didn't he, in their success? And this year hasn't quite hit the heights of that, but certainly he is more than capable of winning races. Not just in heats 2 and 12, where these four riders go head-to-head on 2 occasions on the programme, but he can pick up very valuable points against strong opposition throughout the evening. So Worrell and Newman here are certainly the stronger of the four, but don't rule out the other two, because they're both capable of picking up important points.
Yeah, big week for British Speedway with the Premier League Force final coming up at Redcar on Thursday night as well. Premier League playoffs kicking into action. The League Cup won by Edinburgh yesterday, the Knockout Cup as well. It's all happening right now with titles on the line here in Manchester now. Heat number 2, second time of asking, and Worrell behaves that time. Makes a good start, but so does Paul Stark. Stark has made an absolute beauty. Newman's come through. Poole on a 5-1. Bellevue really messed that up. And Steve Worrell is trailing well and truly at the back with Stefan Nielsen in third place right now. But this is just what the doctor ordered for the Poole Pirates. Stark, Newman, Nielsen, 5-1 to Poole, and Worrell has gone down now.
Yeah, Worrell there just gave him the big build-up, and it's the commentator's curse, isn't it?
And the red lights are on.
He's come off, but I would think that he must have looked up and seen the two Pirates boys out in front. And the opportunity for a rerun is important, because the Pirates have got away with that. Get the feeling he's okay. Do think he's okay.
Just
got himself in all sorts of trouble early in the race and got relegated to the back.
Neil Middleditch is not happy, I can tell you that.
Well, I can understand it, but in the grand final, you know, you're going to try and, well, you're going to try every trick in the book. He didn't rush to his feet. He's out the back. Just coming into the corner there for the first corner for the second time. He just slips off and wasn't in a rush to get up.
Yeah, well, he's okay. Walking back, but that has angered Neil Middleditch. The Poole team manager is not happy with that. They had not completed a couple of laps, and therefore they have to do it again. And Neil Middleditch is with Chris Louis.
Yeah, Neil was with me, but he's just rushed off. He's looking at our monitor now. He's, well, Neil, obviously very disappointed with that. Steve Worrell seemed to have a pretty soft crash.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's got to be something done, hasn't there, really? Sort of professional foul, if you like. But that's the rules. The referee won't award it. I think the race was basically over. But in his infinite wisdom, we're going to have a rerun.
Chris took the 3 points in the first one, and obviously, whilst that race was going, you were on a 5-1, so it's a confident start.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a long, long way to go yet. So I'm not certainly not overconfident, that's for sure. But yeah, the sign's looking good, so hopefully we can keep it up.
I asked this question to Mashik before we got going, that you guys avoided Bellevue. Everybody thinks, I mean, you chose Coventry in the semi-finals. You've got to face them now. I mean, was it a case of avoiding Bellevue?
Not really. I just think that we felt that we raced Coventry better at that time. But I think, you know, we've been up here a couple of times earlier in the season and hadn't done well. But, you know, we're a different team. It's a long way through the season. And I think that, you know, the team are gelling really well together, and Bellevue holds no fears.
Good luck. Thanks, Neil.
Thanks, Chris.
Well, it seems as though Neil Middleditch has calmed down a little bit there, but using the words professional foul, Kel, the referee could not award it at that stage because the race hadn't gone far enough, so he has to bring them back. No alternative for the referee. But interesting that Midlow used the words professional foul. What are your thoughts?
We've said it before, and Mark Lemon will be expecting that from his rider, you know, because, you know, Worrell was aware of the fact that they were having a 5-1 against them. And he's now got a rerun out of it, and Stefan Nielsen is the remaining rider for the Aces here. He might just be able to split up Paul Stark and Carl Newman and give the Aces every chance of trying to nick some points back, but I understand the frustration there, but I can assure you if it had been the other way around, the Poole Pirates rider would have been reluctant to get up as well.
Send us your views on Twitter at Sky Speedway. Always good to read your views on meetings and the sport in general at Sky Speedway. Give us a follow and send us your thoughts and opinions. Plenty to talk about over the course of tonight and Wednesday, I'm sure. Second leg on Wednesday at Wimborne Road. There's already one coach fully booked from Manchester to go down there with a second coach on standby. They're leaving around, I think it's 10:30, 11 o'clock Wednesday morning. I think maybe the scoreline from tonight might depend on a second coach going.
Well, very likely, yeah, absolutely. If it's close and the Aces are right in it, then I'm sure they'll be flocking down from Manchester for Wednesday's second leg.
Good weather forecast as well for Wednesday.
Smashing all week, and that's fantastic at this time of year. And it means that the grand final is going to be raced in good conditions, and that's exactly what we want to see. Stefan Nielsen for the home team now. He's got an opportunity to steal a heat win here. Can he make it from the outside?
Yep, Paul Stark goes off the inside in white. No rider off gate 2. Stevie Worrell is excluded. Kyle Newman goes off gate 3 in yellow and black for the Pirates. And Stefan Nielsen, what can he do now? The only Bellevue rider here in blue. How ironic it would be if he could make the start, win the race, or even split the Poole Pirates.
We've seen it before, and Jason Crump's here, the three-time world champion. We're going to be hearing from him a little bit later on, but he's a key man to be here. Of course, a great rider for the Aces, and away we go.
Yep, Nielsen's made a tiny start. He's going to try the inside run on Paul Stark. Stefan Nielsen has the lead now. Oh, how often do we see this happen in Speedway? Stark's gone wide into that bottom turn. He's got the speed here. Paul Stark in white, battling away with the man in blue, Stefan Nielsen!
Oh, down he's gone. Came into the first turn, second time around, too fast. Got some extra grip. Paul Stark's a lucky man. Red light's on again. Just can't get up.
Heat number 2 has been a complete disaster for Bellevue.
It has indeed. Got to give Nielsen some credit there. He tried everything he could. He made a super start initially and got up the inside. Momentarily was in front. Paul Stark then reacted, but coming in to start the second lap here, it's very tight. Turns the bike straight, then it straightens up now. He can't turn it. Clips the back of Paul Stark, high sides, and slips off the bike. Oh, he's very fortunate there, you know. Very
There's no
fortunate
exclusion
indeed.
light on yet. Graham Flint is the referee. He's watching this closely, and he's got a decision to make.
He's got to take blue out, Nige. Unfortunately for Stefan Nielsen and the Aces, looks like it's going to be a 5-0.
Yep. Confirmation that Stefan Nielsen is excluded from the restart. So as long as the two Poole riders stay on the bike and don't have any mechanical failure, it's going to be a gift. 5-0 for Poole in heat number 2. It looked like a 5-1. Now it looks like it's going to be a 5-0. And in the early stages of this meeting, that is a massive boost for the Poole Pirates.
Absolutely, and you've got to say that Steve Worrell and Stefan Nielsen being excluded, that's a massive blow for the home team.
Well, Mark Lemon, the Bellevue team manager, is down in the pits with Chris.
Yes, Mark has worked so hard with this team all year long, and a tough start tonight. I mean, that race in particular, Stefan there in the rerun looked like he was actually going to possibly win the race.
Yeah, Steph's been one of the reasons why we're here, actually, to be fair. You know, he's really stepped up his game from the start of the season, you know, improved out of sight. You know, he's probably one of the elite draft riders that where the system's actually benefit. You know, I'm not a big fan of it, but there's a few riders that have actually done well. And, you know, Steph's been a key part of our team. And, yeah, it's not the best start, but, you know, it's a long way to go. But I'm not going to paint just yet.
The pre-meeting atmosphere, especially in pit lane here, was so quiet and so tense. I mean, possibly affecting your side a little bit, being the home side, the pressure's on, but you think they can warm into this meeting and ride their way into it?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. You know, Poole are, you know, accustomed to being in finals, and we're very new to them. So, you know, there's that you've got to overcome, and the anxiety levels. But our boys are, you know, pretty calm, and, you know, like, sort of, they're very focused and that they want it. So obviously they probably just wanted a bit too much in that particular race. But yeah, we'll settle them down. We'll keep plugging away. So it's a long way from, you know, giving it up just yet.
Thanks, Mark.
All right.
But it's what you don't need, Kelvin, isn't it? When you're in a grand final like this, you're throwing points away. And that effectively, without sounding too harsh here, the reality is Bellevue have thrown points away here.
Yeah, it's, you know, on the build-up to the heat, we said that you can ill afford to make mistakes against the Pirates because they know how to win grand finals. Their record in the last 10 years has been huge. We'll see it again, and this is the problem. Chris Holder spoke about being grippier than he was expecting. That is exactly what the problem there was for Stefan Nilsson. Just at that vital moment, you could see the bike actually driving hard underneath him, and that's why he ran in the back of Poole Stark. Poole Stark does pull a bit of a locker, but at exactly the same moment, he then gets a little bit of extra drive, and he's a touch fortunate. He falls awkwardly. He's still part of the bike. Poole Stark just pulls a locker now, kills his momentum just as Stefan Nilsson gets that little bit of extra drive. And then he's a lucky boy because he doesn't. Well, the air fence actually saves him in the end. But no, as Mark Lemon rightly says, he won't be panicking. There are plenty of races to recover the damage.
Yeah, been a fine team manager for Bellevue this year. Mark Lemon getting him to the grand final in his first year in charge, which is a great achievement.
It is.
And he's seen his side. Well, heat number 2, Steve Worrell jumps to start, restart, falls off. Restart of the restart, Stefan Nilsson comes off. It's just a nightmare heat 2 for Bellevue.
Well, he could say that the Pirates have got a little bit more composure in these grand finals. They've got lots of experience. Neil Middleditch has, certainly. This is, you know, a little bit of an opportunity for a 5-0, isn't it? An open goal, effectively, isn't it?
It is an open goal, effectively, and Paul Stark has made the start. So as long as these two boys do the 4 laps, don't fall off or don't have any mechanical retirements, then they will get a 5-0, and it's a nice comfortable ride for them around as well. Going into lap number 2, Paul Stark in white, who is from the Malvern area and rides for the Somerset Rebels in the Premier League as well. Kyle Newman, who's ridden for the Plymouth Devils in the Premier League too, and it's, like you say, Kelv, it's a tap-in.
It is a tap-in, and no surprise to see the boys floating around quite nicely. They're going quite hard, which is good news because they're going to have to be going hard later on. Plenty of tough races to come, of course, for both these two. But as you rightly say, it's a fantastic opportunity for the 5 points. There's a lap to go, and I'm sure they will seal the deal. Now the Bellevue Aces, they've got to go back into the pits. They've got to put this to the back of their minds. And in heat number 3, they need to find something very special.
Yep, so it's a 5-0, a gift 5-0 for the Poole Pirates. That is just what the doctor ordered for them. And now a bit of character, because it needs now the Bellevue Aces to show some determination and bounce back here, because that now is the worst possible heat number 2 outcome. Stark, Newman, 2 finishes only. 5-0 to Poole, who take an early lead after only 2 heats of this grand final. Bellevue Aces 3, Poole Pirates 8. And Neil Middleditch, the Poole manager, is with Chris Louis.
Thanks, Nigel. Yeah, Neil, well, you guys know how to win championships, and Bellevue may be ruining just giving you 5 points.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Stefan just had a bit of dirt there and clipped the back of Starkey. Unfortunate, but yeah, 5-0, I'll take it.
How's the feeling in the team? I mean, you've walked the track, you've started the meeting. How are the boys?
Yeah, the boys are great. I mean, I think we had a good talk before the meeting, and I said that, you know, as I said earlier, we've been here before and not had great meetings, but, you know, we've put on a good show. But I think that, you know, we are the championship leaders. We want the title again, and tonight the boys are up for it.
Of course, winning the actual league championship doesn't actually mean you win the grand final. That's only happened half of the time.
Yes, I know. So we know that to our cost. So, yeah, we're certainly not going to be complacent, that's for sure.
Great stuff. Thanks, Neil.
Thank you, Chris.
Both sides going into this final on a great run of form as well, not just in the playoffs but in the regular league action as well, and so far so good for the Poole Pirates. Bellevue, I think many people would agree, it certainly needs a handy lead for Bellevue. Here we see Josh Grzyonic with a bit of help here from Gareth Isherwood, the former Stoke rider, who's helping out with Josh Grzyonic tonight.
Yeah, good rider, Josh. Absolutely, and coming in and doing a good job for the Aces, and we'll need to do a super job for them here. They're up against Maciej Janowski, of course, the Grand Prix rider, who made the final in Stockholm at the weekend. Didn't get on the rostrum, but rode very strongly there. And he's the sort of rider that they need to nullify, because he can pick up some big points. There's no question about that. And Dakota North, Nigel, missed the semi-final, but he's fit and he's here.
Very much so, and here we go with Craig Cook going off the inside. A big night needed for him, that's for sure. Maciej Janowski goes off gate 2 in yellow for Poole. Josh Grzyonic gate 3 red for Bellevue, And going off the outside in white, Dakota North back in business. His father is ill in Australia, but he is back in the Pirates side this evening. And what a record Poole have got. They've been top of the table of the regular Elite League season 5 times in the last 6 years. Really is a remarkable record for the Poole Pirates. Top of the table 5 times in the last 6 years. It really is a fantastic record.
Oh, it's extraordinary. They build a team to win every year, and they're there or thereabouts every time. Inside, Cook makes a good start.
Yeah, great start from Craig Cook. He has the advantage early on. Oh, and locking up there is Maciejowski in yellow and black, and that is allowing the challenge from Josh Grzonek. Second place right now is Dakota North. Janowski's gone square, and so has Grzonek, but the lead is with Craig Cook, and they're getting in a tangle down on that third and fourth turn.
Absolutely. Janowski was all over the place, and how he avoided Grzonek was extraordinary. Once again going in there. Maciej Janowski all over the place. Out in front, Craig Cook made an absolute blinder away from the inside. Quite clearly more grip on the track than ordinarily expected, and is catching out 1 or 2 riders. But Craig Cook doing a good job for the home team.
Yeah, Cook has been with Bellevue for a while now, doubles up with the Edinburgh Monarchs in the Premier League, and he's looking superb here in the blue helmet colour. But crucially for Bellevue, their man Josh Grzonek is a long way at the back. They need to start hitting some race advantages here. Dakota North getting second spot in white. Maciejowski hanging on there after getting a bit of trouble early on down that bottom bend. All over the place at times. But what a win for Craig Cook in blue, looking very composed, Kelvin.
Cook made a dynamite start, Nige. He absolutely rocketed away from the inside gate proving to be somewhat of an advantage, but Grzonek and Janowski on the opening lap down at the bottom end of the track were all over the place. Very fortunate that both of them stayed up. Cook gets a rousing reception on his celebration lap, and rightly so. But in truth, the Aces need to get a heat advantage, because so far the Pirates have just got the edge.
And indeed, here we have the result of heat number 3. Craig Cook the winner with Dakota North second. Maciejowski scrapping away for third ahead of Josh Grzonek there. It's a 3-all, and that heat 2 is costly so far for Bellevue. It's the Aces 6, Poole 11, 3 gone.
Tapes up, and they go roaring towards the first corner, and it's Cook. Cook makes a fabulous start on the inside. Janowski almost turns the bike inside out, and that causes problems for Josh Grzonek. Dakota North now settles in second place. Look at Cook. The bike leaps off the start line, and he's got plenty of time to actually move to the right before he actually gets down the back straight. Janowski there finding conditions a little bit awkward. Now they're down the back straight on the opening lap, and this is where all the fireworks go on. It gets far too much grip, and both of the riders run straight across the corner, and you would have thought that on another occasion they could have come down. Cook out in front, he dominates the race, and that keeps it at a 3-all. Super ride from him.
Yeah, great ride from Craig Cook. Let's hear from him now with Chris.
Craig, we spoke before the meeting and you were saying you're having a lot of frustrations with your clutch setup, but no problems there from gate 1.
Mate, you speak to anyone and they'll tell you I'm always having problems with my clutches. I don't think I run a same setup every meeting, so but yeah, we're trying something different today. It just ripped out the gate there, and it was really good on the track, so yeah, just hoping I can pass some of my knowledge on to the boys.
You've said before that you've been a bit frustrated because you haven't always been able to emulate your Edinburgh performances, the same with Bellevue in the Elite League, but winning a grand final, that would lay that one to rest, wouldn't it?
Mate, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, I know it's going to be hard. Poole, arguably the best team in recent history in the Elite League, so you know, we just need to consolidate and not throw any stupid away points. We've just threw them points away there, and 5 points in Heat 2, but the boys just think we just need to settle down and use our heads. You know, the track is a little bit tricky out there, and you know, it's not the same as it usually is. Obviously had a bit of rain over the past few days, and it's made it a little bit different, so yeah, we just need to settle down and gather our thoughts and just ride sensibly.
Great stuff, thanks Craig. Well, Craig has said it, struggling with track conditions. What have you got for us, Simon?
Yeah, a couple of the boys have touched on it. I think they're finding it a little bit grippier than they perhaps initially anticipated, and I think that's catching some of the boys out. Mostly the main concern is the entrance into into the third corner. People seem to be straightening up a little bit there, and it's catching a few of the boys out. Look, they've had a ride on it now. They'll go back. Some more information in the pits, talking between themselves. I'm sure we'll see a different riders coming out now.
Simon, it's Kelvin. It is tricky because down in turns 3, it's actually a grip going into the corner, and it's tight, isn't it? And that's quite tough to deal with.
It is, Kelv. As you know, this place is really tight. They've got to get the bike low coming into the corner, putting a lot of pressure on the right leg coming in, getting the bike sideways and pulling it round. They're going to struggle with it while it's still a bit choppy, but it's going to even itself out.
Back Simon Stead with his expert track analysis. Started with the Aces this year, of course, and Sheffield Tigers in the Premier League. Heat number 4 coming up here at Kirkmanshire Lane. Newman off the inside for Poole. Then it is Stefan Nielsen. Gate 3 in white is Kasper Gomolski, who's struggled round here on his visits this season. Scotty Nichols going off the outside on the last night of Speedway here at Kirkmanshire Lane. They're home since they left Hyde Road in 1987. They rode here 1988 onwards, uninterrupted, and then next year it's the National Speedway Stadium just around the corner from here. Big ride needed from Bellevue, a captain's role needed from Nichols off the outside gate in red. Here we go into that first turn, and it's a fantastic start from the man in yellow and black, Kyle Newman, the super reserve, but here comes Nichols. Super ride from Scott Nichols. That's just what they needed from him, and Newman almost loses it. Third place in white is Kasper Gomolski. Stefan Nielsen well and truly at the back. Bellevue cannot land a blow with a race advantage, Cal.
No, good stuff from Nichols, but as you rightly say, Stefan Nielsen is out the back. And the Pirates packing in for second and third, although Gomolski's finding it quite difficult in third. This will be all right for the Pirates. They'll be quite pleased with this. Nichols looks like he's beginning to settle quite nicely, and a big night is expected from Scott. It is tricky down the bottom end there. There's no question. It's quite patchy there. It will even up, but Nichols is out in front, and he looks like it's going to win fairly comfortably.
Yeah, Scott Nichols almost a length of a straight ahead here. Super ride from him. Rode in the last grand final that Bellevue were in. Chris and Scott talked about it earlier. Rode for the opposition, Coventry, who won the league title 10 years ago. They're starting to get some race winners, but they can't get the minor placing to get a race advantage and eat into that 5-point deficit.
No, absolutely, and Stefan Nielsen found it very difficult, and Kasper Gomolski, who doesn't like this place, has ridden quite strongly there to get the third place, and Carl Newman is a very important rider right now for the Poole Pirates. He comes up with a very strong second place in his second ride rather. Nichols was emphatic, won comfortably in the end, but the Pirates packing in for second and third, very useful.
Nichols, Newman, Gomolski and Nielsen. It's a 3-all. Bellevue 9, Poole 14. And crucially now, after 4 heats, when you look down the scorers, the Bellevue reserves have failed to score, and Poole, with Stark and Newman, have scored 7. So it's 7-0 when it comes to the reserves for the Poole Pirates, and that is a huge difference, and Bellevue have got to sort it.
Well, away from home, that's a massive advantage, and the boys, the home boys there, the Bellevue Aces, just having a bit of a chat with Scotty Nichols, just being able to relay some information across to them, but not the ideal start for the home team. Plenty of racing to come, but as you rightly say, the reserves so far have found it really difficult.
Well, a bumper crowd here, as we say, on this historic night here in Manchester, but it's going Poole Pirates' way so far. Bellevue needs some sort of response. They've got Max Frick and Stevie Worrell up against Davey Watt and Paul Stark in the next heat. That's heat number 5 of the grand final first leg. It's coming up when we come back. Four heats gone here in Manchester. It's the Elite League Speedway Grand Final. A good win from Chris Holder early on. Plenty of dramas down in that bottom turn 3 and 4, though. Stefan Nielsen here in the second turn, though. He was lucky to avoid injury there. They've been all over the place in a bit of a mess, but Craig Cook was magnificent in picking up a race win for Bellevue in Heat 3, and Scotty Nichols winning the last race. But crucially, Bellevue yet to get a race advantage. It's Bellevue Aces 9, Poole Pirates 14. quite simple. Mark Lemon has to get his riders going here in terms of picking up heat advantages.
We often see it, Nigel, when track conditions aren't quite suited to the home team. They do find it a little bit more difficult to actually cope with than the away team, and so far that seems to be the case.
Simon Stead down by the track. Simon, they've been doing some track grading. Will it make too much difference, do you think?
I think it will. I think they've got the tractors out. They've smoothed the ruts out a little bit. They've made it a little bit more rideable. Not only that, the riders have also had they've had their first race on it. They know what to expect now. We'll see track conditions improve, and I think we'll see the racing improve as well.
Good stuff. Heat number 5 coming up here in the grand final, first leg. Second leg at Wimborne Road Poole on Wednesday night. The place will be packed, you can be sure. If you're going along to that, get there early. Davey Watt goes off the inside in white for Poole. Max Frick, gate 2 in red for Bellevue. Paul Stark goes in yellow and black for the Poole Pirates. And Stevie Worrell, who hasn't completed a race yet, he was excluded from heat number 2, of course. Well, he needs points. Bellevue needs Steve Worrell tonight at reserve. He's a big hitter at reserve, and they need him, Kelvin.
They do, and he's had a disappointing start to tonight, a nervy start. He jumped the start, very nearly touched the tapes, and then fell off, and really did find conditions quite challenging. And as I said just previously, when the track is patchy and a little bit grippier than it ordinarily is, then that can actually put the home team off. But as Simon rightly says, the track should improve very soon, and racing therefore will improve as well. Davey Watt on the inside, a vastly experienced rider coming out in the number 2 racing berth, and that is a hugely important role, and a rider of his capability gives the team plenty of strength. But there's no doubt, Steve Worrell, a disappointing start to tonight. He needs to come good now.
Here we go then, heat number 5 it is, of this grand final first leg here at Kirkmanshire Lane. Who's going to hit the front? That's a good start from Watt, but significantly Worrell is in the back again, and Davey Watt has the lead, and coming around is Paul Stark as well. Max Frick in trouble, Bellevue in trouble, and the Poole Pirates are marching on here in heat number 5, and Paul Stark is having the night of the season at reserve for Poole.
Brilliant stuff there from the Pirates, no doubt about that. Track conditions are not suiting the home riders. Max Frick is a quality performer, and he's struggling in third place. No doubt about that. Steve Worrell out the back. Davey Watt riding beautifully out in front. Paul Stark is having the night of his life, and what a night to have it. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, Stark, who is the lower ranked reserve. Kyle Newman is the man at reserve who has to do most of the scoring in that position. But Davey Watt has got plenty of experience, and he's riding beautifully. Paul Stark in second, well ahead here of Max Frick in red, and Steve Worrell at the back means that right now the Poole Pirates have scored 9 points at reserve, and Bellevue have scored none. That is proving to be significant here at Wimborne Road, at Kirkmanshire Lane, I should say, ahead of the return at Wimborne Road on Wednesday.
Wednesday night.
Yep, absolutely. And it does mean that Poole are in a commanding position.
Wow.
And if Bellevue go another point behind, they can use a tactical ride, and we didn't expect that at this early stage of the semi-finals.
No, we did not, and the Pirates, they don't really fancy it when they come here, but they fancy it this evening because it's the grand final, and they've put that to the back of their minds, and they've started like a house on fire. Holder did it in heat 1, Davey Watt does it in heat 5 in fine style.
But Paul Stark follows him home as well, and has beaten Max Frick and Stevie Worrell. It's a 5-1, Bellevue 10, Poole 19. What a start after 5 heats for the reigning champions.
It is indeed. Paul Stark a little bit nervous on the line, but gets away with it. Davey Watt right round the inside. Max Frick gets passed by Paul Stark as they roar down the back straight on the opening lap. Frick makes a really good start here, but can't cope with the conditions. Just can't get the setup right, and is clearly uncomfortable. Tries to get up the inside of Paul Stark, who rides a really strong race in second place. Another big 5-1 to the Poole Pirates. They mean business here tonight, and they've already put the home team under a huge pressure. Davey Watt riding supremely well.
Let's get some reaction now with Chris Louis.
Thanks, Nigel. Yeah, you've just got to look at the scores of the reserves. The Pirates paid for 11 points against nothing from the Bellevue Aces. That tells its own story. And, well, Kelvin Tatum said the meeting of your life. Does it feel like that?
Yeah, no, it's going well so far. So, yeah, 2 wins. But something's working, so we'll just stick with that.
We've heard a lot about track conditions. Simon said has been updating us. They worked hard on the track to try and improve it just now on turn 3. How is it now?
Yeah, no, it's okay. There's more dirt than normal, and I think you know, it's coming to play for the Poole Pirates really, and yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Great stuff, well done.
Cheers, Chris.
Yeah, good stuff there from Paul Stark. Magnificent effort from him. His dad, Tony Stark, a former grass track rider who helps him out. He's by his side in the pits at most of his meetings. And now it doesn't get any easier for Bellevue, Kelvin, because they have a world champion and a world under-21 champion up against them here in heat number 6.
Not bad. Neil Middleditch must be quite pleased when he sees that pairing going out. Janowski did struggle a little bit in his opening ride, but Groshonik and Nichols here. Nichols was impressive, but Groshonik's got to come up with a ride here.
Certainly has, going off the inside. Josh Groshonik in red, with Chris Holder going off gate number 2 in white. Scott Nichols goes off gate 3 in blue for Bellevue, and Maciej Janowski is the man off the outside in yellow and black. As the battle in Poland reached its conclusion yesterday, with Leszno crowned Polish champions. Congratulations to them. We know that Vetlanda are the Swedish champions, who will be the British champions of the Elite League. We will know on Wednesday night, but already I have to say Bellevue are in a spot of bother.
They are, and they've got to respond quickly. Scott Nichols now needs to play a role here, needs to come up with a really big ride. Janowski on the outside, you've got to believe a rider of his class will sort himself out. He's on the favoured gate, on gate 4. Oh! Holder's in the tapes!
Well,
Groshonik moved early, and that pulled Holder in. I fear that Chris Holders will be excluded for that.
Well, we'll see what Graham Flint comes up with. The tapes have gone up now to allow the riders to come back to pit gate. Here comes the replay.
Oh, Groshonik's gone first.
They really are not helping themselves tonight, Bellevue, are they?
That's a nightmare for the home team.
I
thought for a moment that Holder was the one, but Groshonik just touches the tapes first.
Well,
that's desperate.
So do they put Groshonik off 15 metres or put a reserve in that hasn't scored a point yet? Groshonik touches the tapes, but he's disqualified. Scott Nichols in blue. Scott Nichols is the man here in heat number 6. The blue exclusion light has come on.
Wow, actually Scott does touch them. We're concentrating on the 2 riders on the inside, but actually the other way, Nichols, the captain, it goes from bad to worse. Nichols has been impressive in his opening ride. They could ill afford to miss out, and he's touched the tapes. Dreadful start.
Yeah, it's a nightmare scenario. Do they go with a 15-metre handicap for Nichols? It looks as though he is, yep.
Definitely.
He's keeping his crash helmet on there, and he's going to go back out
from
a 15-metre handicap. Can he produce something special here? But he's against a world champion and a world under-21 champion. Jason Crump, who spent a few years as a Bellevue rider, is one of the club legends, and rooting for his former club tonight and encouraging Scott Nichols there. But they're really not helping themselves, Kelvin.
They're nervous, and the reason they're nervous is because track conditions are not what they're accustomed to. They're seeing the Poole Pirates really going for it and riding well. They're 9 points behind, and even at this very early stage, the Aces are finding it really tense out there.
Yep, so Chris Holder in the white helmet colour was well up for it in the opening race of the night.
I didn't see that. I was focusing on the inside with Holder and Groshonik, and it was a surprise for me.
It's a good job you're not a referee, Kel.
Indeed it is.
You called it Holder first, then you said Groshonik, and finally it was Nichols. You got it right third time.
Yeah, well.
The fourth bloke got away with it.
Exactly. Only had one boy to go. No, but now this will be interesting. We see it now. I was focusing on initially Holder, because Holder moves there, but it's Groshonik does touch the tapes, but unfortunately for Scott Nichols, who won in fine style, and that is a big blow. But
Janowski was moving as well. All 4 had a little nibble at one stage there.
Nervous. Janowski wasn't very convincing in his opening ride, so he was clearly feeling nervous on the outside. He's not on the outside now, though, of course, because they will have to have shuffled across, and that now puts Chris Holder on gate 1.
Well, it would take a remarkable effort to pass Chris Holder or Maciej Janowski, although, has to be said, Janowski struggled in his opening ride, didn't look at home on this circuit.
No, he didn't. The grip down in the bottom corner there caught out Groshonik and Janowski in their opening rides, because they both nearly ran into each other. So there's no doubt that Scott Nichols will have to produce something a bit tasty here if he's going to get amongst the big points.
So here we go, heat number 6, the second time of asking. Nerves playing their part big time here in this grand final in Manchester tonight. Jason Crump joining us very soon, by the way, the triple world champion. Mark Lemon, who is the Australian team manager, Well, a penny for his thoughts right now, Gelf.
Well, he's been hit by a sledgehammer, hasn't he? He wasn't expecting this at all, and he was full of confidence when I spoke to him before the meeting started, rather. But so far, it just hasn't been their night. They're going to turn it around soon.
Here we go. This is heat number 6, and Holder's made a beauty. Now it's Josh Krzyznik in red hole in the inside line. Janowski, though, is going hard around the outside, and they're on a 5-1. Now Holder will slow down and shepherd Janowski around here, because that third and fourth turn was a problem for Matsi Janowski in his opening ride. But it's looking like a big 5-1, and the Poole Pirates are absolutely tearing Bellevue apart here now.
Totally dominant out in front. No surprise to see the two GP boys out in front. Holder was strong away from the inside. Janowski then was allowed to come around the outside. He looks much more comfortable this time, proving too much of a tall order. Riders a little bit out of shape. Track conditions clearly not as smooth as they would like. But Krzyznik and Nichols have got no answer to the GP boys in front.
Yeah, Matsi Janowski almost apologised to his teammate at one stage there because he lost control of the bike. They're down the back straight and they're kicking on. Yeah. It's Matsi Janowski in yellow and black, Chris Holder in white, Josh Krzyznik third. It's a 5-1 to Poole. And now, amazingly, they're 13 points ahead after only 6 heats of the grand final.
Well, I couldn't see that coming at all. Poole haven't won here the previous 2 visits in the league. They lost by 4 and 14, and so far this evening they have a lead of 13 points after 6 heats. That is quite incredible.
Zagar Tactical, heat number 7.
No surprise, Zagar coming up. He had a strong second place in his opening ride behind Chris Holder, so all of a sudden the pressure on. Mark Lemon making his move immediately.
Yep. Mark Lemon wasting no time in going for the tactical ride in heat number 7. Matsi Janowski the race winner, Chris Holder was second, Josh Krzyznik third, and Scott Nichols trailed in at the back after touching the tapes and going off a 15-metre handicap, and Poole are 13 points up.
Yeah, what a start initially from Holder. He used that inside gate and he rides very sensibly. He's aware that Janowski's going to come roaring around the outside. Has a couple of looks as they go down the back straight. Nichols, of course, always going to be hard from there when you've got the quality of Janowski and Holder out in front. They dominate the race proceedings. Krzyznik pushing on in third, but there you see it. Comfortable out in front. Super stuff from the Pirates. Janowski actually getting well out of shape and slowing up, but they had plenty of time. Even with this mistake, they get away with it.
Well, Mark Lemon, the Bellevue team manager, he is with Chris Louis.
Well, Mark, 13 points down at this early stage, and no hesitation with that tactical ride with Matty Zagar.
No, it's obviously far from ideal. I think the occasion's probably slightly got to the boys a little bit, but it's it is a grand final. Poole have obviously had a lot of experience in this, and maybe we get taught a bit of a lesson here, but we're not going to panic. Although you can being 13 points down on your home leg, 6 races in is not ideal, far from ideal, and not pleasant. But yeah, Zagar on a black and white. Cookie's going well. We can turn around now, hopefully.
It's not the sort of confidence that you can give to a winning team like Poole, and that last race, I mean, you really had no options. The reserves just not performing tonight. Scott Nichols having to go 15 metres, but you can't give Magic Janowski, Chris Holder 15 metres, can you?
No, and our reserves actually weren't really ready to go out. Stevie Worrell's changing bikes now. He's had 2 races and the machine's not performing. I didn't really want to take Josh Krzyznik off gate 1, if I'm perfectly honest, but I felt the way Scott was riding and how Janowski performed in his first ride, there was a slight chance. Clearly got that wrong.
Okay, thanks, Mark. Let's get an update from Simon.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Down on the start line again. Crucial for Matty Zagar to get for Bellevue to get the 8 points in this one. They've got a big race. Matty off gate 1, Craig Cook, who had a fantastic first ride off gate 3, could be crucial that they get some points back in this one.
Chance for Bellevue, Kelv?
It is, on paper, certainly. They're the stronger of the pairings. Zagar, who had a strong ride, got 2nd place, but Craig Cook rode very nicely to win his race, so there's no doubt with gates 1 and 3 they must have a chance, and gate 1 has been working very well, so Zagar needs to hit the front and then they need to work it out. He needs to allow Cook to get into the race with him and then possibly swap over later on to allow Zagar to win and pick up maximum points. Gomolski certainly rode pretty strongly, And certainly, yeah, gate 2 not the best, so good opportunity here for the home team, Nigel.
Vital for Bellevue to get the 8 points here now. Matty Zagar in the white and black helmet. Any points he scores against a Poole rider will count for double here. 10 tries, and Zagar's made a good start. North's in there, though, battling away.
Oh, Cook's down. Oh, Gomolski very nearly down as well.
And the red lights have just come on.
Very tight first corner. There was not a lot of racing room. Dakota North was in there as well. Zagar had made a good start. Cook out of gate 3. Very competitive first corner.
Well, this is an interesting call that the referee has to make now. He will watch a replay, I'm sure. Graham Flint. Here we see it again.
Yeah, tapes up. Zagar on the inside makes a super start. Dakota North is alongside him. Not a lot of room there at all. Dakota North. Cook just straightens up on his own. Don't think there was much contact there at all.
Oh dear.
And when we see this from this angle, we may well see he runs in now. He's okay.
Oh dear.
Oh, that looks like that could be Cook gone.
The only way he'll get away with it is if the referee, Graham Flint, calls it as an unsatisfactory start. And
This
calls
may
it a
well
first
show us
round
if there was
incident.
any contact, Nigel. Oh, I don't think there is. No, there isn't. He
Lost it.
straightens up now. The grip on the outside there catches him out. Runs out of track. Runs out of time. Get the feeling the blue helmet colour of Craig Cook could well be excluded.
Well, we'll see. There's no light on yet.
Well, he's taking his time, Graham Flynn. He wants to be sure that there's no real contact between the two riders. Bike lifts there. They're well apart. Of course, Dakota North was a little bit out of shape, but I fear for Cook.
Well, that would be the last thing that Bellevue need. Desperate for an 8-1. There is still no exclusion light on. Graham Flint taking his time. No decision has been announced as yet. This is a huge decision for the referee, Graham Flint. Well, well, well. Is there some sort of contact?
Well, I'm not so sure.
Well, if there is, Graham Flint could call it back as all 4. He can do that anyway if he so desires. Is there contact there?
Not sure there is.
Referee taking a close look at these. Blue is out. Craig Cook has been disqualified and the blue light is on. And the home fans are devastated by that decision. And that is a huge blow to the Bellevue Aces. Everything is going wrong for Bellevue tonight, and it's all going right for Neil Middleditch and the Poole Pirates. He is with Chris Louis.
Thanks, Nigel. Well, Neil, I can confirm that Craig Cook has been excluded, but it just shows the tension. Graham Flint has taken an age to give you that result. I mean, you guys just kept checking the monitor. It was a tight one.
Yeah, I'm glad he did, because I think sometimes decisions are made too quickly in the heat of battle, as it were. And Graham took a good look at it. I've had a good look at it, and absolutely agree with it. But hopefully Craig's okay, because I already tweaked his wrist a bit, so hopefully he'll be okay.
I know you're going to say it's early days, but 13 points has got to be pleasing for you at this early stage.
Oh, very pleasing. But as I say, it is early days. I mean, it's a long meeting, and I'm never ever complacent in this game.
No room for complacency in a grand final, and especially because, I mean, you could need a lead like this because Bellevue can perform at Poole.
Exactly right, and that's the thing with the Wimborne Road circuit. Clubs do come down there and perform very, very well. So the closer we can keep this tonight, the better it's going to be for us.
Okay, well, the riders are preparing behind us. We better get away. Thanks, Neil.
Thanks, Chris.
Well, we're now told that Craig Cook has gone to the medical room with that wrist problem, so fingers crossed he's going to be okay. And
it's not going well for the home team. It was unfortunate there, and Craig Cook was just caught out by track conditions. Do think the extra grip on this evening's track has gone against the home team. They've found it difficult to cope with it, and on several occasions home riders have got themselves into trouble. Zagar now has massive pressure. The best they can hope for here is a 6-3. They absolutely must have that. 13-point lead for the Poole Pirates is huge at this early stage of the grand final. Mark Lemon quite clearly is shocked. Must be. Could never have envisaged this sort of start to the grand final at home. All the momentum with the Pirates.
Very much so. 3 riders only for heat number 7 then. Let's hope that Craig Cook is going to be okay to continue? Can Craig Cook continue in this meeting? Now, Matty Zagar, black and white helmet colour, inside gate, needs the win. Dakota North, gate 2 in white, no rider off 3, and Kasper Gomolski going off the outside in yellow and black, but you have to feel that this was a real opportunity for Bellevue for an 8-1, and they've blown it.
They have, and that's desperately disappointing. Of course, you don't go out in a race to blow it, but unfortunately Craig Cook, who won his opening ride very well, just didn't quite get there. It was a very competitive first corner. He grabbed a load of grip and it just straightened him up, and he just couldn't quite hang on, and that was disappointing for him. The inside man, Zagar, coming back after injury. Andreas Johnson had done a great job guesting for them. He has to win this race for the home team now.
Yeah, big race coming up, heat number 7. North very touchy in the start line there, but he's made the start indeed. It's Matty Zagar in second place right now. Third in yellow and black is Kasper Gomolski. Now can Zagar make an impression and get around the outside of Dakota North? What a move! Beautifully done. That's world class from Matty Zagar, the Grand Prix star. He now has the lead, and it's on the verge now of Bellevue's first heat advantage of the night.
Well, that's incredible, isn't it? And he had to work hard for it as well, because young Dakota North, who missed out on the semi-final, comes back into tonight. He made the start, and then Zagar roared around the outside of him in turns 3 and 4. It looks like the class act he is. He's out in front. Lots of grip on the track. Really is pulling the arms off the riders. He's stretching that lead. Should get the big 6 points.
Yep, Matty Zagar looking for the big one here, and he's going to get it into turn 3 and 4. It's the Super Slovenian Matty Zagar. First heat advantage of the night. Zagar punches the air to try and rally the troops here at Kirkman Lane. Can that race get them going? There's still 8 races to go in this first leg tonight, and Matty Zagar delivers the goods. 6 points for him, 3 for Bellevue, for the Poole Pirates. 6 for Bellevue, 3 for the Poole Pirates, and it's a 10-point gap now with 8 heats of this meeting still to go. Is that the first start of a recovery for the Bellevue Aces? Matty Zagar inspired there. Good pass on Dakota North, with Kasper Gomolski third, Craig Cook excluded, and we still await news on Cook as to whether he can continue in this meeting.
Well, Dakota North makes Zagar work very hard. He comes out of gate 2, which hasn't been a favoured gate, makes a super start, clamps the line, keeps Zagar guessing. Zagar then roars down the back straight, gets the better of Gomolski, and he makes that really good run round in the middle of the track in the dirt. Lots of dirt here. Look at that, allows the bike to literally slingshot off turn 4 and fires himself to the front. Zagar needed that. Bellevue needed that. They were desperate for something out of this, and they pick up the big 6 3-points. That's the most they could have possibly have wished for. Zagar out in front, showing his class.
Let's head down to the pits and Chris Louis.
Yeah, it's remarkable to think that that was Bellevue's first heat advantage, and well, you did it on your own, Matty, but you guys have got to keep doing it now. 8 races left, you can still pull something back.
I know it's far away from ideal beginning. Well, what to do, you know, it's... I said to the boys, you know, got to keep it revving, got to win the heats, and I think everybody was a bit, I think, too much heartbeat. I think on the oven maybe they put 400 degrees. It's too much, you know, in the head. So, but, you know, we have not some heats, but we have a lot of heats to go. But going back to today, thanks to my mechanic, Johnny. Sorry to his wife, because he shortened his honeymoons just for me to come here and help me. So today we had a great day in the workshop, so I hope that's going to work. And, you know, we got a good team spirit here. It's just we need to get points on the track, nothing else, so I feel sorry a bit. And hi, Steve-O, hi, Donna, so cross fingers.
Well, for yourselves and the fans of Grand Foundland Speedway, keep it going.
Thank you very much.
So 7 heats gone here in Manchester tonight in front of this packed crowd, but it's the Poole fans who are happier so far. Can Bellevue bounce back? Heat number 8 is coming up when we return. What a night here at Kirkman Lane, error-ridden by the Bellevue boys. They've thrown points away. Poole Pirates have handled the tricky conditions a little bit easier than the home side have. It's far too grippy for the home side. They've come to grief, but they did get a 6-3 with Matti Zegar in the last heat to just get their first heat advantage of the night. Packed house here, Bellevue 17, Poole 27 in the first leg of the Elite League Grand Final. Heat number 8 is coming up shortly. Simon Stead is our man trackside tonight. Simon, again, they've done some grading, but quite clearly the grippy conditions have affected the Bellevue boys tonight.
I think it's just caught them a little bit unawares, and nobody was quite expecting the amount of grip that the track was going to produce tonight, and it's caught the home boys out more than the away team. Looking at the track in that last race, I think it will give the Bellevue team some belief in themselves. They watched Matty fly around the outside of Dakota North, showing that the outside run's starting to work and giving the boys a little bit more to work with. So it's not all over yet, but Bellevue need to up their game.
They do indeed, Simon, and it's often the case that when track conditions are not normal, it does catch the home team out. What would you be doing? Would you be changing your gearing? Would you be trying to ride the track slightly differently? Because there's no doubt the Aces are struggling so far.
Yeah, well, listening to the bikes on track, Kelv, it seems like the Bellevue guys seem to be a little bit underpowered, where they're running too smaller sprockets. They need to put a bigger sprocket on. The bikes are sounding better in the Poole team, so there's obviously some alterations that the home team can make, and no doubt that Matty will be giving them that feedback.
Simon Stead, our expert trackman tonight, and as we build up to heat number 8, Scott Nichols inside, Paul Stark gate 2 in yellow and black. Stefan Nielsen goes off gate 3 in blue, and Davey Watt going off the outside for the Poole Pirates in the white helmet colour. What a rider to have in that number 2 position of the team with all his experience.
Absolutely, we pointed that out just when he came out for his previous ride, when he won it in convincing style. And absolutely, he has led Elite League teams. He was number 1 for Lakeside very recently, in recent seasons, and that just shows you the strength of the Poole Pirates side when he comes in as a second string, and that really is quite well, it's a fabulous position to have. Nichols is in a similar position. He rides at number 4, and it could well be quite a clash here. Nichols has got to bounce back here, Nigel. Disappointing to touch the tapes last time, but he's a rider that the Bellevue Aces need.
Certainly do. Here we go with heat number 8. Can Nichols make it off the inside gate? Going into that first turn, it's a great start from Nichols. He's got there, but Nielsen is at the back. Nichols goes wide there, down the back straight. One whole second, third in yellow and black. Paul Stark doing a great job for Poole tonight. Stefan Nielsen at the back, and still heat number 8, halfway stage. No points from reserve from either Stefan Nielsen or Steve Worrell for the Bellevue Aces, but Scott Nichols is kicking on.
Yeah, looking like his second win on the night. Disappointing, of course, last time when he touched the tapes, but he's out in front, he's comfortable, and as you rightly say, desperate times for the reserve duo from the Aces. They just can't get amongst the points. Nielsen's there, Paul Stark is hanging on to third place, but if it stays like this, it'll still be a 10-point lead. Nichols out in front, he's comfortable.
Yeah, Nichols riding very, very tidily indeed. He's going to win the race by the length of the straight. Second place, Davey Watt, just looking over his shoulder. He's settled nicely and contently in second spot, because Bellevue cannot make an impact there. Nielsen trails in at the back. So still no points from reserve for Bellevue. That is a crushing blow. And with Paul Stark picking up another one there, that means that Stark and Newman have got 10 points to 0 at reserve for the Poole Pirates.
Well, that's just extraordinary, and that's the difference in the scoreline. Of course, the tactical ride has been used. You can't use another one, so they're going to have to battle their way back in this. And now the Pirates are in the driving seat. Nichols was terrific. Just that one mistake where he touched the tapes, and that was disappointing for him, but he responded brilliantly there, but just not quite enough support for him.
Nichols from Watt, from Stark, from Nielsen. It's a 3-all, and it's Bellevue 20, Poole 30. 8 heats gone here at Kirkmanshire Lane.
Yeah, tapes are up, and it's Nichols initially from the inside. What was there, but he's cautious about where he's going to go, and Nichols allows the bike to run across the first corner, gets the grip. Again from the tapes, the captain of the Aces makes a really good start into that first corner, blocks the move from Davey Watt, who was very impressive last time out. It's a 3-all, they cruise around for it. Nichols can do no more than win the race, but just as I said previously, not enough support right now.
Yep, Scott Nichols then, super ride from him, 6 points from 3 rides. He's won both his rides that he started from the gate. He did go from 15 metres, which doesn't help, of course. Stevie Worrell going on a new bike here. Heat number 9, Frick and Worrell up against Gomolski and Newman. And that point I made about the reserve scoring, or lack of it where Bellevue are concerned, they really do need Stevie Worrell to come to the party now.
They do indeed, and as Simon was rightly saying, it is quite clear they haven't got something quite right. And when you come week in, week out to a track, you have a fixed idea of where you want to start from regarding your setup, and there's no doubt about it, they haven't got that quite right. Cook is okay, that's great to see him back in the pits, and Mark Lemon will be relieved to see him out of the medical centre and ready to take his remaining rides. They need him, they desperately need something here.
Yeah, very much so. As we say, the end of an era tonight at Kirkmanshire Lane, not just for the stadium, but for the track announcer here, the voice of Kirkmanshire Lane, the voice of the old Hyde Road as well.
Yes.
Lovely fella by the name of Ken Wrench, who bows out tonight as the voice of Bellevue Speedway, and I think we'd all join together in wishing Ken Wrench all the very best.
Really nice fella, known him for a long time, he's been around for ages. I wish him all the best for the future.
Just would be nice if he could do maybe Heat 1 at the new stadium.
That would be fantastic. Just on the opening night.
Announced at 3 different Bellevue venues.
Yeah, that would be a nice touch.
Jason Crump, 3 times world champion. Good to see him over here in the UK. Now in the pulpits, after being with the Bellevue boys for a while, but having a chat with Chris Holder there. Heat number 9 it is.
Gomolski jumped the start. Worrell was just moving moment, just a fraction, and Gomolski was very keen to get away. Don't think he touched the tapes. I fancy all 4 will be back, but Worrell was nervous and was moving just a little bit, and Gomolski roared away a little bit too early.
Here we see it again.
Worrell just moved just fractionally, and then Gomolski jumped away. Nervous boys on the start, no question of that. Gomolski doesn't like it here, doesn't score a lot of points. Worrell just moves there a fraction, and again, and then, well, all 4 back.
Well, they're already back at the start line. Yep.
I like that.
Yeah. No messing around, straight back to the start line here. Ready for heat number 9, take 2. Here at Kirkmanshire Lane tonight. Second leg, remember, at Wimborne Road on Wednesday. At the home of the Poole Pirates. That main stand is going to be packed. You're going to have to get there early, I reckon.
It'll be heaving, won't it? Yep. We've seen some big crowds there, and Neil Middleditch, no question, he's all smiles, gritted teeth there from Mark Lemon. He's quite clearly feeling the pressure here this evening, as are his team. And it's quiet in the crowd, that huge crowd on the start and finish straight. Really were so expectant before Heat 1. Isn't going their way. They need something to really get excited about now.
Certainly do. Heat number 9 is coming up here then. Second time around. Here's Max Frick, who started his UK career with Edinburgh as a fine talent, one of a crop of young Australian riders who have a huge future in the sport, no doubt. It won't be too long, I'm sure, before this boy is knocking on the door of the Australian World Cup squad. And speaking of the World Cup, it has to be a question. Is there a chance we could see the World Cup in Great Britain next year? Next door to here, I wonder.
I think there's every chance, Nigel. It's such a smashing venue in Prospect, and it would be fabulous if we could stage an event of that stature here.
Heat number 9. Here we go again. Oh, Worrell's gone again. Well, he did it in heat number 2. He's done it again now. And we're going to have to come back for a 3rd time. What on earth is going on here tonight, Kelvin?
The nerves are wrangling, aren't they? Steve Worrell has had a desperately disappointing evening. He's so keen to try and make the start.
Oh, he's so lucky.
He's very fortunate.
But that's...
he's just got away with it.
Yep.
He's just got away with it. The front tire so very close to touching the tapes. All 4 are back, and they're straight back round to tapes. That was so tight, it's unbelievable. And Steve Worrell, you know, he has just a couple of weeks ago was a superstar for the Aces.
He's a fine rider, Kelvin.
Quite clearly, nerves are with him, because right from his opening ride, he was nervous on the start, jumped the start, and hasn't really got into the meeting at all.
Heat number 2, he was pulled back for jumping the start. Then he fell. Then here now he's jumped the start again. It is a major concern for Stevie Worrell right now.
It is, yes.
He goes off the inside in blue. Kasper Gomolski, gate 2 in white. Max Frick, gate 3 in red. Kyle Newman, outside in yellow and black. And I would presume, Kelvin, the way referees work now, you know, as a former rider, that Graham Flint will be desperately keen now to see all 4 of these riders behave, particularly Stevie Worrell.
Well, yeah, Worrell could be, even if he doesn't touch the tapes next time, but jumps the start, could be excluded for delaying the start, delaying the race. And he can ill afford to do that. The Aces can ill afford to make any fundamental mistakes. Max Frick is a rider that is more than capable of winning this race, and he needs to. They need to get into top gear now. They've started sort of sluggishly tonight. They haven't adapted to the conditions as quickly as the Poole Pirates, possibly the wrong gearing on, the wrong bike setup. Simon Stead was talking about the bike sounded a bit lazy out there. They need to fire them up now.
Certainly will. Here we go with heat number 9. They're away this time. And now Bellevue are on in good position. Steve Worrell in. Oh! No, that has gone horribly wrong. Kyle Newman brilliantly around the outside. Steve Worrell in second place now. Gomolski is third, and Max Frick has been relegated to the back. And you just get the feeling it's all going horribly wrong for the Bellevue Aces tonight.
Well, what a first corner that was from Carl Newman. There didn't seem to be too much racing room there at all. Gomolski and Frick out the back. It frightened the life out of Max Frick, I think, because Carl Newman was completely committed and got to the front. Worrell in second. Gomolski off big time.
Well, let's hope he's going to be okay, because he's gone into the fence at a fair odd speed there. Smashed into the air fence. Bike goes into the air fence as well, but he's just lost control of the bike. He's not got the best record around this track, of course.
He crashed very heavily, and he looks in a lot of pain, a lot of discomfort there lying on the track, so fingers crossed for him. Carl Newman was extraordinary in the first corner. I thought they were all going to come together there, but miraculously they didn't, and Newman was able to get himself to the front, but that was a big crash there from Gomolski. The bike is destroyed, the front of the bike. He actually goes straight in and T-bones the airbag, and from the rider's reaction initially, he looked like he was in a real lot of discomfort. Yeah, but Carl Newman, Nigel, wow, what a first corner he produced there.
Yeah, well, there is going to be a bit of time needed here for the treatment to Casper Gomolski. See Giles Hartwell there, one of the Poole promoters, of course, talking to Carl Newman, who did ride a beautiful ride there. But we are going to have a delay here now whilst the repairs are done to the air fence, as well as allowing maximum time for the treatment to Casper Gomolski, and we wish him all the very best.
Yeah, fingers crossed for Casper, because you can see the bike there, it's destroyed. It went in so fast. It went, as I said, it T-boned the airbag. That deflated it, and then the rider actually was very close to it as well. So we will keep our fingers crossed that not too much... he hasn't been injured too much. The first corner is quite remarkable. Worrell on the inside made a good start. Frick's there alongside him. Newman's absolutely committed here and laying all over the outside of Worrell. Fantastic commitment from Carl Newman to get himself to the front. Really was a terrific effort. Again, Worrell makes a good start this time. A little bit more patience, and he's there. He's got Frick there. They must have felt they must have half a chance here. But Carl Newman has completely other ideas. Frick's all over the place in third. Now we see Casper Gomolski running into the dirt. Bike picks up. He's a passenger. Oh, big crash.
Yep, high speed as well, Kelf. He is sat up, and that's good news, but the ambulance is coming out now.
Lots of grip on the outside. It's catching riders out. It's actually caught home riders out more often than it's caught pirates out.
He's just stood up as well, which is great news.
There, he's off now. Oh, terrible feeling that is.
Casper Gomolski's going to walk away from that. The bike isn't in such good health.
No, that's in better days, isn't it? And won't be ridden again tonight, but super to see Casper Gomolski up. Middle itch, Chris Holder out there concerned. But that's great, because that looked an awkward crash.
Certainly did. Gomolski then, who has had 3 rides now. Perhaps, maybe they'll put Newman in for him in his last programmed ride, which is heat number 14, because he's obviously looking in some discomfort here. We are told that the race will be awarded, so it's a win for Kyle Newman, Steve Worrell second, and Max Frick third. So that's a 3-all, which means that it's Bellevue 23, Poole Pirates 33. But as we say, we're going to have a bit of a delay now, because one of the air fence bags has actually been destroyed, it appears, and they're going to have to put an absolutely brand new panel of air fence in position for this meeting to continue. Kyle Newman, Steve Worrell, Max Frick is the finishing order, Race awarded. It's Poole getting a 3-all there. Bellevue 23, Poole 33. But as we say, they are going to need to do some work on the air fence now to get the meeting resumed with heat number 10. Right, let's hear from Kyle Newman now. Lovely ride there, to be fair to him, and he's with Chris Louis.
Thanks, Nigel. Yeah, well, first of all, a big sigh of relief as you see Casper Gomolski walking back. That's good news.
Yeah, that's it. Well, I've just seen the crash on the replays and it looked a bit gnarly. So, he's a tough lad, Casper. So we sort of, expected him to get back up, but it's still nice to see.
Well, the reason you didn't see it first time around was because you were so far in front. It's been a great night so far, and I mean, 10-point cushion, and the difference is between the reserves between the two sides.
That's it. Starkey's flying today as well, and I haven't been quite happy so far. I've been changing the jet in each race, and we sort of went big, went small, and then we thought, all right, go and bang in the middle, and it seemed to work for that one. So, I think finally found something comfortable, and, just work with it from there.
You were telling me before the meeting that you're riding a bike with a different chain and clutch setup because you had to change engines, change chassis, so unsettled your preparation a bit, but it doesn't seem to be making too much difference.
Yeah, a little bit. I've been using the Scanic belt drives, and they're really nice, but the preparation, it was better to, I had the bike there with the chains on, and I just serviced that engine, so it was better to sort of put it all together instead of rushing about swapping chassis and that. So, but that doesn't bother me too much, as long as the bike's working well. My Scanic clutches, they're brilliant anyway. So, just got to, keep working hard with it, and hopefully we get the win.
Keep it going. Thanks, Carl.
Cheers. Thanks.
6 seats remain. Kyle Newman, I said at the top of the show, fantastic rider to have at reserve. He's one of the top riders in the Elite League. Of course, we've seen Jason Garrity for Coventry. The Garrity-Sargent combination has been fantastic for Coventry, but Kyle Newman, really effective for Poole.
Yeah, he is, and he was this time last year as well. He played a major part, and he's doing a terrific job here this evening. And the way he rode in that last race, where it was just called to a halt prematurely, was a rider that was quite clearly fully determined and totally committed to that first corner. You wouldn't have got away with it if you'd hesitated halfway round. There would have been carnage there, so all credit to him. Interesting that he's playing around with belt drives and chains. That does change the characteristic of the bike, but right now he's got it spot on.
I'll take your word for that. I haven't got a clue what he was talking about. Okay. But anyway, there you go. The fence is being repaired. There's track work going on. We'll be back with Jason Crump, the 3-times world champion, going to have a chat with us very shortly, and we'll be back with heat number 10 in a few moments' time.
Sports.
Welcome back here to Kirkmansham Lane on the final night of Speedway at this venue, and it is a night to forget for Bellevue so far. Poole have just seen Gomolski crash out. Thankfully he's okay, walks back to the pits, but his side are the better side right now. Bellevue Aces 23, Poole Pirates 33, with 6 heats of this grand final first leg to go. Mark Lemon calling his boys together, giving them the rally cry, telling them it's not all over yet. They have to start digging into that lead and get some race advantages under their belt to take it to Poole on Wednesday. Neil Middleditch and the Pirates, they're happy right now. Casper Gomolski looks a bit second-hand there, to be fair, which is perfectly understandable.
It is indeed.
Looks like he's not going to ride again tonight. He's only got one more programmed ride in Heat 14. We wish him all the very best, of course. Look who's joined us, a special guest here in the studio, and it really is great to welcome Jason Crump, 3-times world champion, and of course a Bellevue legend as well, here on this special night, the last night of Speedway at this place, where, Jason, to be fair, you've done a few laps around here.
Done a few laps and won a few races, so kind of a bit of an emotional night. It was a big part of my Speedway career, racing here, and a lot of fun memories to take away from it. So it is great to be here on the last night. A shame the Aces aren't putting up a bit more of a fight at the moment, but still a few heats to go tonight, so hopefully they can restore some pride.
The man who signed you was a real character here at Bellevue, John Perrin. Tell us your memories of John.
John was, could you have found a more northern, a more northern native than John Perrin? You probably couldn't. But he was a great guy to work for, and he brought me up here at a time when Bellevue was probably the most unfashionable club in British Speedway, and you know, it was somewhere where a lot of guys didn't really want to go, and
it was a surprise to me at the time. I remember thinking, crikey, that's a big signing for Bellevue. It was a really big signing. It was a surprise, but quite clearly you were impressed and fancied the challenge.
Well, I'd had some really nice home clubs as home tracks. You know, I'd gone from Peterborough to Kings Lynn and stuff like that, and there were tracks where everybody enjoyed going to, and I wanted to have a track where I wanted to challenge. You know, they were prepared so well and everything was great, but you came here and it was a tough place to ride. And, you know, I was thinking about the bigger picture. I was thinking about what was going to help me when I went to Grand Prix. And, you know, riding here on a Monday made Cardiff in the old days pretty easy to handle.
That's fair comment. But also on the other side of that, of course, you had then, once you cracked it, you had a good home advantage.
Yeah, I loved it. I remember actually some wise words from you back in 1997 at Peterborough, Kelvin. You actually told me that I had to, you know, I had to be able to do my league racing a bit easier. And and coming here, I mean, no race is ever easy, of course, but some of the best guys in Speedway were not that difficult to beat around here.
No.
You know, obviously there were guys that were exceptionally good around here as well. And, you know, Scott Nichols was one of them. He was tough to beat. And, you know, Chris Harris was tough to beat around here. And Mark Loram was tough to beat around here.
Yeah, Mark was certainly quite useful.
What about this crowd, Jason? It must warm your heart to see a crowd like this. It just shows the passion that there is for Bellevue.
Well, there is. And, you know, it's a famous club in a town with some big sporting clubs around, you know. And, you know, hopefully what happens tonight can get carried away or carried over to the new stadium when they go there next year.
Just a final thought, World Championship. Ty Woffenden looks like he's going to be World Champion again. What are your thoughts?
He deserves it. I'll be honest, I don't watch all of the Grand Prix all the time being in Australia, but Ty certainly put on a good show. And what he did in Stockholm on Saturday night, you know, how could you argue with that guy where he is? He deserves it.
Yeah, just final thought, Jace. 10 points back. Can they claw this back and take it to Poole?
I really hope so, but can it happen? I'm not sure. We need to watch.
It's great to see you here.
No
great
worries.
to see you back
you.
here at Bellevue. Jason Crump here in our studio. Thanks very much for joining us, Jason. Much appreciated. And great to see him here, Kelvin. What a rider Jason was.
Yeah, brilliant. And known Jason for an awful long time. I do know that his father hasn't been in the best of health, Phil. All the very best to Phil. I do hope that you make a speedy recovery. But yeah, terrific to see such a legend of the sport here this evening with us.
Here we go, heat number 10 then, we're back underway, and it's Chris Holder off the inside, Josh Krzyzonic, gate 2 in red for Bellevue, Davey Watt, gate 3, yellow and black for Poole, and Craig Cook going off the outside in blue after one or two scares for Craig Cook, a scare after the crash in his last ride that he may have been injured, but here he is, ready to crack on.
Yeah, good news for the home team. They need him to come out and produce the sort of start he did when he won his first race from the inside gate. He rides brilliantly for Edinburgh, and he is so consistent with his point scoring, doesn't always quite produce that at an elite league level, and that's slightly confusing for me, because when we saw him riding at Somerset earlier this year for Edinburgh, he was fabulous, wasn't he? Absolutely flying around there, broke about 3 track records in 3 consecutive nights, but it's been a disappointing night so far for the Aces. But Craig Cook and Krzyzonic here need to try and restore some pride, because it's going the way of the Pirates, and Middleditch has seen it, done it all before, and right now they're in the comfort zone.
I am told that Edinburgh was packed on Friday for their League Cup derby with Glasgow.
Yeah.
A full house at Armadale, continuing the theme of big crowds. Here we go, heat number 10, going into that first turn. Chris Holder is there. That's a nice tidy move. Good look up the inside. It's Davey Watt. Holder will look over for him, but Josh Krzyzonic has come through into second. Now what can Craig Cook do in blue here? Holder has the lead. Cook has come around the outside. He'll take up the challenge and try and chase hard after Chris Holder. But Kelvin, Chris Holder is looking good tonight.
Yeah, he is, and I do know that Chris is not a real favourite of this track, and certainly he's ridden very well tonight. Craig Cook is coming on strong in second place, didn't make the start, got round the outside early on, he's coming on strong here. Cook! Look at Cook go! Brilliant move from Cook!
What a move from Craig Cook! Where on earth did he find that from? He has just passed a 2012 World Champion in spectacular style, and Bellevue are on a 4-2. Fans are loving it here. They're going to pick back another couple of points. It's Craig Cook brings the house down. What a ride from Craig Cook in blue. A stunning move to blast around the outside of Chris Holder. Josh Grzyonic was third with Davey Watt at the back. At one stage early on, it looked as though Poole made team right for a 5-1. Bellevue turned it around for a 4-2.
Well,
what a ride.
What a ride from Craig Cook. Picks himself off the deck, brings himself back out there. Holder had made the start, but what a ride. He didn't panic. He didn't panic at all. He got himself into second place by the end of the first lap, and as they went round on the second lap, he just used that extra bit of grip and fired himself to the front down the back straight on the second lap. That was a quality ride from Craig Cook, and that might just begin to get a bit of belief in the Bellevue Aces. That's more like it.
Fantastic from Cook. 4-2 it was. Cook, Holder, Grzyonic from Watt to 4-2 to Bellevue. It's Bellevue 27, Poole 35. So still an 8-point lead for the Pirates, but that was a magnificent ride from Craig Cook. You've got to take your hat off to him. It was great to see.
Super stuff. We're looking at Davey Watt and Grzyonic, and there's Holder on the inside. Holder makes the start, allows the bike to just drift across the first corner, hits the dirt, down the back straight they go. Grzyonic cooks out the back. Look, he's just figuring it out. Which way am I going to go? Really is not in the race at the early stages at all, but there it just opens up, doesn't panic, slingshots around the outside and gets himself nicely into second place as they complete the first lap. Holder in front in the middle of the track, but Cook running around the outside in the dirt, gets that extra bit of speed and fires himself to the front. And will that fire up the Bellevue Aces now? They desperately need something. They've closed the gap a little bit. They need to keep doing it.
Yep, 8 points of difference, and look what it means to Craig Cook. Let's get some reaction now with Chris Louis.
Craig, you just woke up the home fans. They went wild during that heat. 4 points. You pulled a couple back, but that's the sort of inspirational ride that perhaps your team needs.
Yeah, mate, we need to fire them up. You know, I'm trying to fire the crowd up there, and you know, I love this club. I want this club to succeed. We've come this far, and we're not going to roll over and give it to them now.
Congratulations, great ride. Simon, you saw it. This is just what this team needs, isn't it?
Yeah, it is absolutely what they needed. We saw Matty in Heat 7 work that outside line. I think that showed the rest of the guys that there is a racing line there if they want to take it. Craig Cook, fantastic ride in that one, worked the outside well, past Chris Holder from nowhere. They'll be a lot happier about things right now.
Gate number 11 coming up. Can the Bellevue recovery continue? Off the inside in white is Dakota North. Gate number 2 in red is the number 1, Matty Zagar. He's dropped just a point from 2 rides. Matt Sijanowski, who has looked a little bit uncomfortable on occasions on the track tonight. Gate 3 in yellow and black. Max Frick has struggled. Can he get his act together off gate 4 in blue?
Needs to, because he's a lot better than the points return he's come up with so far. Zagar on his return to the side has done a good job. There were concerns about Zagar coming back with Andreas Johnson riding so well as a guest, and Zagar hadn't been seen for well over a month, and you've got to say that he has done his part without question. Zagar, of course, is quality, a Grand Prix winner on a regular case. Dakota North on the inside is riding nicely, and Janowski, as you rightly say, Nigel, has been out of shape a couple of times, but last time, even though he was fast, even though he was out of shape, he was pretty quick. On the outside, Frick needs to come good here. Zagar and Janowski could be quite a battle.
Can Bellevue claw this back? Can they get back into the tie? Zagar off 2 leads. A good one! Dakota North just had a little nibble at the start, and they're on a 5-1. Zagar in red, Max Frick in blue. Frick down the back straight, blast clear. And now it's up to the Slovenian Grand Prix star, Matty Zagar, to protect his man and try and do a bit of team riding going into lap 2.
Wow, what a turnaround this is. Zagar there on the inside of Frick. Frick has been disappointing so far this evening. Has suddenly turned on the style here. Janowski was out of shape. Dakota North with a bit impatient. He's coming on strong in third place. Zagar's going to have to protect Frick out in front. Dakota North up the inside. It's getting tight. Zagar having to protect Frick out in front.
Yep, Zagar is going wide and getting the drive. Dakota North is pushing him every step of the way. Now Zagar's come through and has got the lead. You can be sure that Dakota North will try and get round the outside of Max Frick. Oh, here he comes, Dakota North. Turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Now Zagar has the lead. Here comes North. Dakota North to the line. Oh my goodness me.
What a ride from Dakota North. I thought he'd done it on the previous corner, but Frick just about held on. on. Brilliant effort there from Dakota North to split the aces there just to keep the damage to a 4-2. Zagar supreme. He was desperately looking after his teammate there, but Frick just didn't quite have enough pace. Zagar found himself in front. He couldn't do too much more. And a supreme effort there from Dakota North to slingshot round the last corner to snatch second place away from Frick. Super speedway.
Yeah, Dakota North in second place there. Janowski at the back. North likes this track. He's good around here. I just think there that Matti Zagar went for it, took the lead, went ahead of Frick, couldn't protect him, tried to slow down, but I just think that Zagar went for it because he was running out of room with the team riding around here.
Well, the problem was Dakota North was putting him under so much pressure, Nigel. He was trying to protect Frick and he couldn't do it for any longer. Found himself in front, and then Dakota North with that superhuman effort late on in the race. Zagar and Frick, they make the start. This was very encouraging at this very early stage with Frick out in front, who hasn't had the best of nights, and it looked like he was turning on the start and he'd found the setup. But Zagar, as hard as he tried here, he just couldn't keep the race down because Dakota North, Janowski doesn't get in the race at all. Dakota North in third place there. He starts running for that dirt, and Zagar, looking left and right, realises that suddenly they're going to be under an awful lot of pressure. Late on in the race, down the back straight for the last time, into the bottom corner, uses the dirt. Frick says a sitting duck, loses his momentum off the corner, and Dakota picks up the second place. Super Speedway, disappointing for the home team. They needed the 5-1.
Good to see Gary Stead here tonight, former rider, of course, Gary, who is with us enjoying the action here. That scoreline does look better, still hugely in Poole's favour when you look at the context of two legs, but certainly looking a lot better for Bellevue. Now, can they do something here in Heat 12, which is a repeat of Heat 2, which finished 5-0 to Poole? Can't be any worse than that. So Bellevue are going to go for it here. Stefan Nielsen off the inside in blue. Kyle Newman, gate 2 yellow. Stevie Worrell, gate 3 red. And Paul Stark off the outside gate here in this one, Heat number 12. Big race needed for Bellevue now.
Yeah, the teammates looking on keenly because, as you rightly say, the scoreline looks more respectable, but the mere fact that Poole are in front, they're still in the driving seat. Steve Worrell, who's changed his equipment after two very disappointing rides and picked up a useful 2 points, and 3 points here would really be very, very handy indeed. Stefan Nielsen, who's had a nasty looking crash earlier on, is still out there. Don't quite know what's going on there. Running repair to Carl Newman's goggles there. He's had a great night, really good night, and Start Marshal just giving him a bit of a hand there.
Ron Shaw is the start marshal here at Bellevue.
Smashing blow
tonight. Yep.
Saw you chatting to him before the meeting started. He's going without goggles. He's going to have to make the start. That's not good news.
Yep, well, the 2 minutes was running down there. Here we go, no goggles for Kyle Newman. And he hasn't made the best of starts. Going into that first turn, Stefan Nielsen has got there. And now down the back straight, here comes Paul Stark challenging Nielsen. And Newman is there as well. And this is just not what Bellevue needed here. Poole are riding magnificently. And what about Paul Stark having one of the nights of the season? And Kyle Newman, with no goggles, risking damage to his eyes, is holding second spot.
Well, that's quite remarkable from Newman. Really did need to get into second place at the very least. At least he knows it's his teammate out in front and he can just ride inside him. Paul Stark is a superstar tonight. Got to the first corner, wound the throttle on, got the better of Stefan Nielsen and is flying out in front. He's riding supremely well. Track conditions haven't been easy this evening and he's made light work of it. Super stuff from the Paras here in Heat 12.
Paul Stark turning on the style. Stefan Nielsen having a go in second here. Newman, we remind you, not wearing any goggles here now. That's normally what the type of stuff you do on indoor tracks. It's Kyle Newman in second. It's a 5-1 to Poole. And that has just quashed Bellevue's recovery big time. Paul Stark is a hero at reserve for Poole Pirates tonight.
Absolutely, and you've got to say that Carl Newman normally steals the headlines between those two boys, but Paul Stark is the man this evening. Started well, conditions haven't been too easy, but he has made light of that. When Chris was interviewing, he said, yeah, it's not too bad out there. Things are going well. I seem to have got the right setup. once again in heats, well, a big 5-1 they've got. Well, they've scored 5-0 and a 5-1 in heats 2 and 12 respectively. That's a massive advantage for the Pirates.
Yeah, 10-1 over the 2 reserve heats. Unbelievable. And Paul Stark, 9 paid 11 tonight.
What a night.
For Poole Pirates. Paul Stark the winner, Kyle Newman second. Stefan Nielsen was third. It's a 5-1 to Paul Stark, who has won the National League title in the last 2 years, 2013 and 2014, a National League champion. Can he go on and become an Elite League champion now with the Poole Pirates?
Well, we see here with Carl Newman having to jettison his goggles just before the green light came on because he was running out of time, and it's a great first corner from Stark. I thought just momentarily Stefan Nielsen might well be able to squeeze Paul Stark, because Nielsen makes a good start off the inside, but Stark, full of confidence, enjoying conditions, gets that run down the back straight, and he's joined by his teammate. Stark out in front with goggles on. Certainly he didn't need them because he was out in front, but Stark will have enjoyed that, and he's done a great job for his team this evening.
Yep, superb from the Poole Pirates here after, 12 heats now, 3 to go in this first leg tie. 10 points in favour of the Poole Pirates. Join us for heat 13. Zagar, Cook, Holder and Janowski is coming next.
Pretending to be asleep.
Welcome back to Kirkmanshire Lane. It's been eventful tonight, it has to be said, but Bellevue have contributed to their own downfall by wasting points tonight, and the Poole Pirates, magnificent. They really have got stuck in here, and they have a 10-point lead, the reigning champions, looking to make it 3 on the bounce in terms of Elite League titles, and they're going about it the right way. Bellevue really need 3 5-1s now in these last 3 heats. It's Bellevue 32, Poole 42. Yes, welcome back here. 3 heats to go. At Bellevue now, they've just got to go for it, Kelvin. There's nothing more to it than that. They have to go for the 5-1s now.
They do, it hasn't been their night. They have made mistakes, and they've looked like, to me, they've been a touch nervous and conditions haven't suited them, but nonetheless, they've got 3 races to try and grab something. 5-1s is what's required.
Simon Stead started the season with Bellevue and a second spell with the club. Steady, you're down there trackside. Disappointed for your old club tonight. What's their attitude got to be now in these last 3 races?
I am disappointed, Nigel. I really thought they were going to ride better. I think Kelvin's right. The track conditions have kind of like slipped up there. They've not quite settled in how they would have liked. But Mark Lemmer will have them in the pits. They'll be trying to get them to regroup. I think it's important. We've seen flashes of them being able to be better, and they've got 3 heats to really try and bring it back.
Yeah, the problem area, Simon, is, of course, that the track has been an issue, but the reserves this evening just haven't been quite good enough, have they? And it's pretty tough to understand that, because Steve Worrell, he's a quality act down there.
Absolutely, and he's ridden superbly all season. Premier League for his home track, Newcastle, week in, week out for Bellevue, and he's been on it. So it's really, really disappointing for Steve and for Bellevue, but he'll be looking at making some changes ready for the second leg at Poole on Wednesday.
Here we go with heat number 13, that second leg on Wednesday night, live on Sky Sports 1 at 7:30. Hope you can join us for that. Bellevue will be determined to bounce back, of course, and try and push it hard. Matt Janowski off the inside here in yellow and black for Poole. Craig Cook has been brilliant tonight, gate 2 in blue. Chris Holder, gate 3 in white for Poole. Matty Zagar outside in red. Kelvin, whilst the Bellevue fans who have flocked here tonight will feel deflated and disappointed, there has been some spectacular racing. We've seen some good racing tonight.
Well, there's been plenty of commitment, yes, and at times we've seen, like, Carl Newman roaring around the outside, Zagar riding strongly to make sure he's kept his team, tried to keep his team in. That man there, Scotty Nichols, apart from touching the tapes, has won 2 rides quite nicely. So, yes, there has been some decent stuff out there, but generally just the mistakes and the slip-ups from the home team has cost them dear. And Heat 2 was really, when you reflect on it now, was really penal for them.
Yep, very much so. And Neil Middleditch, who has the Midas touch when it comes to all the situation with winning league titles. Can tell you, by the way, that the rule book suggests that goggles must be worn It's in the rule book. So Kyle Newman rode heat number 12 without goggles. Could well be illegal. But anyway, heat number 13 is coming next. Here we go. Who's going to hit that front now going into the first turn? It's a good start from Matsy and Oski for the Poole Pirates. Cook goes wide and he's got the lead magnificently once again. Craig Cook has the lead now here for the Bellevue Aces. Chris Holder is in white and Matsy and Oski is second, third place right now. But here comes Zagar up the inside.
Yeah, Zagar gets the better Janowski. Once again, Craig Cook enjoying a terrific night. First corner from him was dynamic. Janowski's packed up out the back. Zagar coming on strong in third. Holder's under pressure here. Zagar coming, can't quite get there. Has to wait a little bit longer. Cook's disappearing. Holder in second place. Zagar pushing hard, Nigel. Zagar looks very keen to get past him.
Yeah, Zagar having a real go here. Almost turns himself inside out there. Here he comes down the home straight. Chris Holder under severe pressure now. Bellevue on a 4-2. How they would love a 5-1. Here it comes. Matty Zagar!
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant from Zagar. Charges into the bottom corner for the last time. Hangs on for second place. Finally, the home crowd have got something really to get excited about. A super 5-1 from the home team in Heat 13.
The roar from the Bellevue crowd took you back to the Peter Collins Chris Morton 5-1 combination at Hyde Road. That was something special. Cook and Zagar, Speedway out of the top draw. Tick that phrase off your list and all the rest of it.
There you
Absolutely
go.
brilliant.
Brilliant stuff from Cook. Cook, apart from the crash, has been outstanding. He's unbeaten. And I've got to say, once again, in a huge Heat 13, he came up with a dynamic ride. Zagar got the better of the opposition, worked really hard in third place, and finally got the better of the 2012 world champion Chris Holder to steam into second place and pick up a very useful 5-1. Little bit of consolation on the night, but a bit of heart, maybe a bit of belief coming back into the Aces this evening.
They're not giving up. 6 points behind. That is a spectacular 5-1 in heat number 13. Cook, Zagar, Holder. What a result. And I have to take you back to heat number 12 as well. Is it in the rule book that goggles have to be worn? And if so, will there be something looked into before Wednesday and the playoff second leg?
Well, I've had a message from a colleague suggesting that goggles need to be worn. Cook out of the start, hits the dirt in the first corner, roars down the back straight. Holder in second place. Janowski now gets passed by Zagar. Janowski then kind of gives up. He not really in the races whatsoever. Holder then working overtime in second place. Here we see Zagar up the inside of Janowski. Janowski then doesn't land a blow. His race is run. He's in trouble. Zagar, though, who was out the back, he really then begins to turn on the style. Cook wins here comfortably, but the pass of Zagar to get the better of Chris Holder late on in the race really does give something for the crowd to cheer. Super stuff from them. A little bit of pride restored.
2 heats to go, and 6 points is the gap. Craig Cook is with Chris Louis.
Thanks, Nigel. Well, Craig, we can see the passion after the race, and you're doing all you can to inspire this side.
Try my best, mate. It's not over till the fat lady sings, and we're a solid side. We've just made too many mistakes today, and yeah, like I said, the track's a little bit indifferent to usual. There's a little bit more on it, which probably suits me more than usual. But yeah, the couple of guys struggling, but you know, we win as a team, we lose as a team, and you know, like I said, it ain't over yet.
Thanks, Craig. Well, someone who had a close look at that can tell us a little bit more about that fantastic ride from Craig Cook. Simon.
What a wonderful ride from both Bellevue men there. Craig Cook out of the start made life easy for himself out in front, but the hard work came from Matty Zagar. What a wonderful piece of skill from Matty. Worked his way past Magic early on, and then put Chris Holder under lots and lots of pressure, forced him into moving wide, turned back, and brought the crowd, sent the crowd home absolutely wild with a fantastic pass on Holder in the third lap.
Just an observation, Kelv. The wording in the rule book suggests goggles must be worn. Okay, goggles must be worn, it says in the rule book. Now, if you take Kyle Newman's 2 points away from Heat 12, that reduces the deficit even more. Now, this is a problem that could develop here if Bellevue protest, and there's a minimal amount of time to sort it for Wednesday night. It's my information that the rule book suggests that goggles must be worn, and Kyle Newman did not wear them in heat number 12. And just another little twist just to throw in there.
Absolutely, I got a similar message, Nigel. So yeah, it's something that the Bellevue Aces need to be looking into. Carl Newman, of course, has ridden very well for the Pirates this evening. Had a problem with his goggles, finally gave up on it because he was running out of time. I do hope that the Aces aren't running out of time in context of the grand final. Of course, we've got Wednesday on the outside there, Josh Krashonik, who's ridden reasonably well.
What they would have to do is lodge a protest fee with the referee. That protest would be lodged with the Speedway Control Bureau, and it would have to be dealt with very, very quickly. I know it to have an effect on Wednesday night, but they can do themselves a huge favour here by winning this race. Grosjeanic and Nichols against North, of course, in action here for the Poole Pirates, and Dakota North was magnificent in that last outing, and Paul Stark, who has been a real hero for the Poole Pirates tonight.
Well, coming in for Gamalski, who's quite clearly feeling the effects of that. Another opportunity for the Aces, though.
Heat number 14 it is, and it's a great start for the Aces. They're on a 5-1. They're closing that gap even more here now. Third place is Stark, and North is at the back. The man in the lead is Josh Grosjeanic in red. Scott Nichols in blue. He's got plenty of experience. They need to do some team riding here, because North is all over Scott Nichols now, and Scotty Nichols needs to dig deep and use all his experience to protect Josh Grosjeanic and keep it tight here now.
Well, he already has, Nigel. He just had to slam the door shut from Dakota North, who was roaring round the outside. The dirt is up high. Grosjeanic and Scotty Nichols fighting for their lives, trying to get right back in this tie. This is a 5-1 they desperately need. Dakota North is pushing on hard in third place, and Paul Stark. Oh, North! Why did he go there? Out of shape. Just about a lap, half a lap to go. Can they hang on out in front?
Nichols looks over his shoulder. Scotty Nichols has done a fantastic job for Bellevue.
Yes.
This grand final is still alive. Nichols and Grosjeanic. Listen to the roar of this crowd. And there's still a race to go. Here, the lead is now down to 2 points in Paul's favour. It's game on in Manchester.
Well, what a brave effort this is from the home team. They look like they were really dead and buried. 13 points behind. All sorts of shenanigans going on. Riders nervous, track conditions not suiting them. Track conditions, they finally come to terms with them, and a massive 5-1 there. 2 5-1s on the spin. We spoke about 3 5-1s to get themselves right back in it. 42-44, that's better.
If they ride with this type of form, this type of attitude before it gets too deep into Wednesday night at Poole, who knows, they could stay in this and push the Pirates hard. Josh Grosjeanic, Scott Nichols, huge 5-1 over Dakota North, and Scott Nichols, the way he shielded Grosjeanic from the challenge of North was magnificent there.
It was.
5-1 to the Aces, Bellevue 42, Poole 44, and there's still a race to go.
Yeah, brilliant stuff here from the Aces, not throwing the towel in. I think they really have had a hard night. The Pirates started so very well, but they've let it slip here in the last 2 races. Nichols on the inside, round the outside, Grosjeanic riding well, gets to the front, but Dakota North was so brave early on, and there's no question that Scott Nichols had to have eyes in the back of his head. Dakota North giving it his all in third place, but it was to no avail, because those 2 boys from the home team pick up a second successive 5-1, and that means there's just the 2 points in it. Super stuff.
Let's get some reaction now with Scott Nichols and Chris Louis.
Thanks, Nigel. Yeah, Scott's just checking out exactly what the situation is. I'm going to keep this brief. I know you want to get ready for Heat 15, but 2 5-1s.
I'm not in it, so I'm talking all night.
Oh, you're not in it? OK, well, I'm surprised. But, I mean, it's been a fantastic turnaround. 2 5-1s on the bet. It's given you guys real hope.
Definitely has. Just make it 3. It's, you know, we knew we were strong at home, and Poole are a strong team, but just didn't go to plan. I don't know if a couple of boys maybe got a bit nervous or what. I mean, the track was different to normal early on, but you know, it's the same for everyone. We just got caught out. We didn't adapt to it quick enough, but we fired ourselves back into it in this last part. And you know, whatever happens tonight, you know, people didn't necessarily expect Poole to win tonight, and they sure as hell won't expect us to win on Wednesday, but we'll be going there to do that.
The big difference has been the reserves tonight, and it's such a shame because Steve Worrell and Stefan Nielsen have been very strong for you guys this year.
Exceptionally strong, and can only think it's maybe a little bit of nerves. You know, it's probably their first time on a stage like this, and it's huge. You know, I've been there before. You know what it's like. It's nerves, and when you're nervous, you're not quite as sharp as normal. You're a little bit tense, and you ride defensively. And but we can go down to Poole with nothing to lose, everything to gain, and hopefully they can show what they're capable of, and we can turn it around and come away with the championship.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Well, what a crowd here, absolutely fabulous. Just to clarify, by the way, the issue about heat number 12 earlier, to clear it up, situation is that once the result of a race has been announced and declared by the referee, you cannot change the result of that race. It cannot be protested. The matter of the fact was that Kyle Newman rode with no goggles, and he should have done according to the rule book. But on this meeting tonight, Kelvin, it's had a bit of everything, and Bellevue have dug deep here to keep their hopes alive.
Yeah, great credit to the Aces, because they looked like they were really a forlorn side. They'd had so many dramas. The home team really weren't in it, and then lots of nerves. Scotty Nichols suggesting that there were nerves being shown by some of the younger riders in the side. He's done a great job. Craig Cook has done a super job, and Zagar and Cook coming out in heat 15 have got an opportunity for another 5-1.
Wonder what the managers are feeling there with Chris Louis.
Yeah, they're pretty pensive at the moment. Neil, you said you couldn't afford to be complacent. I know you haven't been, but they've pulled it back and they're putting the pressure on.
Yeah, absolutely. They did that last time we were here as well, and my half-time chat was "don't be complacent," which we weren't. But no, fair play to Bellevue. They've certainly come back into it. But having said that, I'm very happy with the score so far.
Your reserves, I mean, they've been absolutely fantastic all season long, but they've been tremendous tonight. I mean, Kyle Newman in particular has been wonderful.
Yeah, they give 110%, which is all you can ask. I mean, they're young boys and they're very keen to race. And yeah, as you say, they've been a huge bonus for us this season.
Magic Janowski's struggled out there. Chris Holder says he doesn't particularly like this track, but he's done a pretty solid job.
Yeah, that's right. Magic just can't seem to get the setups. It's he's brilliant, or they say tonight he's just not so brilliant, unfortunately. But whatever happens in the last one, we're going to go away. If we win or lose, I'll be happy with the result.
One thing's for sure, Bellevue are going to take it to you down at Poole on Wednesday. And Mark, I mean, you're going to be disappointed, obviously, but what a fantastic finish. 2 5-1s in 13 and 14.
Yeah, it is. It's obviously we've only had 4 heat advantages in the 14 heats, which is far from ideal for your home leg. But the boys rallied. I mean, obviously things didn't go to plan quite clearly. Too many exclusions, not enough race winners, and not enough heat advantages. And obviously their reserves were just being dynamite tonight. The reserves, these draft riders, can affect matches we've seen all year, and it's clearly. They've capitalised tonight, and fair play to them, all respect. But there's 2 points in it. We can still go away here with a 2-point lead, and we drew down at Poole, so it's still to play for.
Thanks, Mark.
No worries.
Good positive attitude from Mark Lemon. Can Bellevue get a 5-1 here and remarkably take a lead to Wimborne Road?
I think they can. On paper, Cook and Zagar are in great form, and I would suggest that Holder and North could be a little bit vulnerable, so wouldn't surprise me at all.
So Chris Holder off the inside in white for Poole. Gate 2 in red is Craig Cook for Bellevue. Gate 3 is Dakota North for the Poole Pirates, still waiting for him. And going off the outside in blue is Matty Zagar. North just coming through the pits now to take his place in this race, heat number 15. But a good speedway meeting, Kelv. Had a bit of everything tonight.
It has, yeah, and it's really burst into life, and particularly for the home fans, they've really got excited in the last 2 or 3 races, and they needed something, and the team have delivered, and that's to their credit. Mark Lemon, of course, will be feeling much happier. I understand Neil Middleditch, if he goes away with a draw or even a slender defeat tonight, they are still favourites for Wednesday night. But when you consider where the Aces were earlier on this evening, they have done a great job and shown great character to battle back into this tie.
After 6 heats, Poole were 13 points up.
Well, there you go.
Only 2 up.
Exactly, so it's been a terrific effort, and Zagar and Cook could make it even better.
Heat 15, the last ever speedway race around Kirkmanshire Lane, and it's a great start for the man in red, Craig Cook. Now what can Zagar do? What a ride from Zagar up the inside to come through into third. Now will he try and get the better of Holder? Oh, here comes North. Dakota North challenging here. If it stays like this, it's going to be a draw going into the second leg. Can Zagar hunt down Holder here in heat number 15?
When he did it in heat 13, he worked his way into the race, and Holder just wasn't able to hang on to second place. Cook is having a smashing night. Terrific first corner from Cook once again, roaring away out in front. Zagar coming on strong in third place. Can Holder hang on? They would love a third consecutive 5-1 nodule.
Zagar's giving everything. It looks like Craig Cook is going to win the last ever speedway race around this track before the move into the new stadium. But it is some comeback from Bellevue. After heat 6, they were 13 down, and they're going to be level going to Poole for the second leg on Wednesday night in the grand final. That is some comeback from the Bellevue Aces here on a memorable night at Kirkmanshire Lane.
Fabulous performance from the home team, 3-5-1s. Wow, we spoke about it with 3 heats to go. They had nothing to lose. They desperately needed the big heat advantages, and they come up, they deliver. Fantastic performance. I would think that Poole will be slightly disappointed.